Chapter 51. In a remote alley in Queens. 1048 is moving irregularly. Seems to be looking for something. The baby arms that emerged from its belly were trying to grab air. Oh my god, is that a child's arm? Coming out of its belly. Is this baby still alive? The last bear could make people grow ears all over their bodies, so this one, can it make people grow arms all over their bodies? Maybe, it will make people grow babies' faces all over their bodies? The kind that can cry. FK, please stop talking. Camartage. The Ancient One could feel it clearly. Inside the bear's stomach was a living creature. As to what kind of living creature it is and whether it is different from humans, it is unknown. According to the information on the screen, there should be 3 bears in total. The Ancient One pondered. What kind of pattern will these 3 bears follow? Will each one be stronger than the last? The other side of Queens. Spider-Man is fighting Venom passionately. There are black and white spider webs everywhere between the tall buildings. Peter Parker, today is the day you die. Venom roared. The stone-like fist smashed down towards Peter. Peter swiftly flashed, you talk too much. He punched Venom in the face. Black liquid splash. Ex-college. Charles looked at the unconscious girl on the hospital bed and fell into deep thought. Next to him stood the fireman John, who was missing an ear. The girl was 8 months pregnant. For some unknown reason, the fetus in her belly disappeared out of thin air. She herself fell into a coma. He was just discovered this morning and sent to the infirmary. Fortunately, there was nothing serious wrong with her. The professor glanced at John. There was no scar where his ear disappeared. It was as if John's ears had never existed. The teddy bear removed John's ears, creating 1048A. Charles said. This child was created as 1048 to 2. Then, what will 1048 to 3 be? Has anyone else in our school been attacked by a teddy bear? Beast Hank said seriously, the metal component I've been working on has suddenly disappeared. Could it be that teddy bear? Charles was startled. What kind of components? In the light curtain. Wade came to the vicinity of 1048B. He put the knife on his shoulder and said, Hey, Mr. Bear, Uncle Wade is here again. Give me that, whatever it is in your body, and then you can die. Wade was approaching. He didn't care about any anomalous effects of 1048B. Anyway, his self-healing ability is invincible. Suddenly, 1048B noticed Wade. It tilted its head and stared into Wade's eyes. The baby's hands inside the body also stopped grasping. The evil aura made Wade's breathing pause. This took Wade by surprise. He is the one who is not even afraid of Thanos. Although he has yet to meet Thanos. 1048B slowly approached Wade. Wade also got ready. Just when the two were about to attack each other. Boom! The wall of the building next door collapsed instantly. Peter flew backwards and fell heavily to the ground. It just slid to Wade's feet. Wade. He rubbed his eyes to make sure he was not seeing things. Spider-Man. Wade picked up Peter and gave him a big hug. Spider-Man, do you know that I think about you every day when I sleep, eat pizza, and even go to the bathroom? Today, I finally met you. My idol. This is weird, let me go first. Peter pushed him away. Oh, sorry. At the moment, Venom rushed out of the building and ran straight towards Peter. Die. Its huge body is like a heavy truck. Peter got into a fighting stance. What a tough guy. Beyond everyone's expectations. When Venom reached the vicinity of 1048B, it suddenly stopped. He seemed to sense something extraordinary. He looked at the harmless little bear. He grabbed it and held it up to his eyes. Something so evil, evil so pure. Good. Venom opened his mouth to swallow the little bear. The little bear tilted his head and looked Venom in the eyes. Suddenly, the baby's hand on the bear's belly, grasping Venom's fingers tightly. All I heard was a click. The whole finger was pulled off by that hand. Venom fell to his knees, looking at his severed fingers and howling in pain. Venoms don't cause any pain, except for fire and noise. But, for some reason, the baby broke the Venom host's fingers. This kind of pain goes straight to the soul. The little bear jumped right onto Venom's stomach. Then, under everyone's shocked gaze, a baby inside a bear cub. Straight into Venom's stomach. Venom stood up involuntarily. Next, its belly. It swelled up like an 8-month pregnancy. Then, Venom howled. My belly is getting bigger and bigger. Soon, PSST. A large amount of black mucus spurted out. A huge amount of venom, in the shape of babies, was born. Its body is constantly expanding. Soon, it was taller than the building next to it. And the original host of venom, Eddie, was lying on the ground. There was a big hole in the stomach. The internal organs were all over the floor. One of his fingers was also broken. Oh, shit. Deadpool covered the back of his head, looking at the huge venom baby approaching them. The reproduction ability of that little bear must be able to get a world record. Even that black monster gave. Peter's face beneath the mask was filled with anxiety. Venom is inherently difficult to deal with. Now, it's even stronger. But he had to stop it. Peter said nothing and started swinging the cobweb. Using his flexible body movements, he avoided the giant baby's grasp and flew around it. At the same time, it is constantly wrapped with cobweb. The giant baby seemed to let out a giggle. He grabbed the cobwebs and tore them apart. Then, he simply grabbed Peter's cobweb and threw him out like a yo-yo. Peter somersaulted in the air and landed steadily. This is going to be difficult. He watched the giant baby anxiously moving forward. He crushed car after car. None of the onlookers ran away. All turned into meat patties. Just at this moment, in the air, a magnetic yet slightly frivolous voice sounded. In trouble, little Spider-Man. I saw an Iron Man dressed in red with a golden mask flying. Over. Chapter 52. That was the Mark III. The most classic Iron Man armor, full of mechanical feel. The red and yellow color combination makes it more handsome. Is that Tony Stark's voice? Ah, it must be him. I didn't expect him to upgrade his armor so quickly. It looks much lighter than the silver one. Even Tony is working for the Foundation? He's the richest man in the world. First it was the X-Men, then it was Tony. Who will be the next big guy to work for the Foundation? As the most powerful organization in the world, Tony must give it some respect. What's so strange about that? In reality, Tony was just passing through. When you see injustice, help others. At the moment Deadpool patted Peter on the shoulder and said, Hey, look, here comes someone who likes red just like us. He looks very strong. We have nothing to worry about. At the moment, Tony's palm was shining. With a bang, energy shot out. It hit the giant baby's head. Suddenly, the giant baby covered his head and began to howl. The high temperature of the palm cannon seemed to cause it great pain. Then, its abyssal eyes fixed on Tony. A huge amount of black mucus gushed out of the mouth. Flames immediately spurted out from the solace of Tony's feet and he quickly dodged. But Wade and Peter below were in trouble. The venom went straight onto their faces. The venom began to wrap around the two people's bodies. To turn them into hosts as well. The two struggled desperately. But the venom entangled itself tighter and tighter. It's just too much. The other side. Loki stared at the black venom. I didn't expect that something from the symbiote planet would come to the Midgard world. This infamous planet is a place that is even more avoided than Jotunheim. Odin said that the symbiote is actually a weapon of an ancient god. Now this is interesting. Can that stupid Iron Man defeat the weapon of the cosmic god? Camartage. When she saw the venom, her heart suddenly tightened. Ancient One definitely knows this character called the God of Symbiotes. If the symbiotes come to Earth, then the God of the symbiotes may also come. This person is truly capable of destroying a planet. Unexpectedly, except for Dormammu. There was one more enemy to worry about. In the light curtain, Wade and Peter are about to be devoured by venom. Tony wanted to help them. But the giant baby constantly sprayed mucus at him. Tony had no choice but to dodge and fight back. Wade breathed heavily, Spider-Man, I haven't asked you for your butt print yet. Just at this moment, the Foundation's vehicle arrived in time. Those cars had huge amounts of speakers mounted on top. Buzz. They made an extremely harsh roar. The people under the light curtain covered their ears in great pain. The venom in Peter and Wade immediately screamed and left them in pain. Foundation agents immediately arrived with flamethrowers. Burn the madly twisted venom completely. On the other side, the giant baby covered his ears and wailed. The venom in it constantly twists and detaches. The Foundation agents' car surrounded the giant baby. They kept attacking the giant baby with noise. It wanted to fight back, but it couldn't. Its size has visibly become much smaller. The giant baby realized that it had to destroy the cars. He endured huge amounts of pain and stepped on it desperately. Tony immediately raised his arms. The barrel extends. The shells were fired. Boom! Huge amounts of explosions devoured the giant baby's head. A large amount of venom was burned to ashes. Just like that, the giant baby constantly becomes smaller. Until, it became a human file size. Foundation agents ceased their attack. Instead, he got out of the car, picked up a small megaphone, and approached it. Start attacking it with less aggressive noises. In order to force out the remaining venom. Without harming the baby inside. Soon. All the venom is removed from the baby. A brand new white baby appeared, sucking his fingers. An agent picked it up. So far, the baby is still alive. As for what happens in the future, it all depends on her luck. The remaining agents began to clean up the remaining venom. Soon, only a pile of coke was left at the scene. As for 1048_B, it had already turned into a bare skin. The Foundation's agent burned it to ashes as well. Since then, 1048B has been successfully executed. Now, only 1048_C is left. If it really exists. However, what no one noticed was a small ball of remaining venom quietly escaped into the sewer. Finally solved, Foundation YYDS. As I recall, there are 3 little bears in total, right? This fetus bear is obviously much stronger than the ear bear. So will the last one be able to? Just don't create something as terrible as the unclean ones. As long as we can kill them, it's not so bad. After some time, a prison appeared on the light curtain. This prison is very special. It is specially used to detain criminals with super abilities. At the moment, underground in the prison. Inside a special cell made of plastic. Magneto Eric looked at the light curtain above his head and was stunned. Isn't this where I am? Could it be that the third bear will appear here? Eric's eyes suddenly lit up. This is a good opportunity for me to leave this damn place. I hope this containment can cause a big fuss here. He gave a sly smile. The prison guards were in a panic at this moment. The prisoners in this prison are extremely dangerous. If the containment unit showed up, caused a riot, and a few escaped, that would be disastrous. Therefore, everyone was on high alert. The warden also called for reinforcements. He even wanted to invite the X-Men over. Everyone was on guard. If a teddy bear appeared somewhere, what awaits it will be dense peanuts. Suddenly, somewhere in the prison, a burst of gunfire was heard. The camera pulled over there. I saw a prison guard yelling. Shooting wildly at a black teddy bear with a machine gun. This teddy bear is very fast and nimble on his feet. Constantly running away, dodging most of the bullets. Even if he gets hit occasionally, he's basically unharmed. Judging from the sparks it gave off when it was hit. Its body is made of some kind of metal. It seemed to be running away without a destination. The prison guards on the way tried to catch it, but it evaded them skillfully. Is this bear 1048C? It's so flexible and looks hard to deal with. It should be made of metal, right? Then what would be its anomalous effect? Would it turn people into metal objects? If it was so strong, why did it run away? I think he is smarter than the first 2 bears. The little bear used his speed to deal with the prison guards. Ran to the prison where the prisoners were held. He stretched out his arms. Just touched the lock of the cell door and it opened. The lock ring on the prisoner's neck that restricted his super ability was opened for some reason. In this way, the little bear released many dangerous prisoners. The prison guards' goals had to change. These prisoners hate humans. In addition, the prisoners have long been resentful of the prison guards. They roared and rushed towards the prison guards. Those machine guns that seem so majestic on a normal day. Faced with real super abilities, it's just like a toy. The prison instantly turned into a slaughterhouse. The prison guards who usually acted arrogantly have become lambs to be slaughtered. The little bear slowed down when he saw this scene. Walking freely in prison. I don't know if he is admiring his own masterpiece. Just at this moment, the Foundation, the X-Men, and Tony all rushed to the prison. A big war is about to happen. Let's make this party more lively. Underground, Eric looked at the screen with a smile. He discovered that Mystique Raven had sneaked in during the chaos. Chapter 53. Everyone who comes here is an experienced fighter. They quickly divided the work and started working together. The X-Men are responsible for suppressing the rioting super ability people. The Foundation and Tony deal with the little bear. Soon, Tony and others saw the little bear. The moment the little bear saw Tony, start running away immediately. Very fast. Tony turned on the positioning system. His shoulder cannon extended. Inside is a missile capable of tracking. Goodbye, little bear. Tony fired the missile. The missile tracked the bear quickly. No matter how fast the latter runs, he can't get rid of it. Boom. The explosion engulfed the bear. And two unlucky prisoners passing by. On Tony's mask, the little bear's vital signs dropped to 0. He died just like that? Isn't that too hasty? It seems that this 1048C is really just fast. Yeah, I only know how to run, I can't do anything else. Thick smoke billowed from where the missile exploded. It's over. I didn't expect it to be so easy. Tony opened his mask. It seems that this 1048C. Suddenly, a dark shadow emerged from the smoke. Very fast. Straight to Tony's face. Fortunately, Jarvis reacted in time and closed the mask for Tony. With a bang, the little bear hit Tony's mask hard. It knocked a big hole into it. The little bear seemed to be unharmed after the missile bombardment just now. Moreover, he also reduced his vital signs to 0. Cheated Tony. If the mask is not closed in time, Tony is probably dead. At the moment, the bear's body began to melt. It turned into a strange substance that was half liquid and half solid. Then, it covered Tony Stark's entire body. In an instant, Jarvis's system went offline. Then, Tony's armor actually began to dissolve and turned into a semi-liquid and semi-solid substance. Then the two substances merged into one. The upper body of the bear reappears. But it's only 5 stories high. The lower body is similar to the scrap metal items found in a garbage dump. It looks like they are piled up together. On the ground, Tony, who had lost his armor, was stunned. So, he wasn't after me, but my armor. Could it be that his abnormal effect is that he will evolve by absorbing high-precision metal objects? The big bear howled towards the sky. The people below were stunned when they saw this huge monster. Then, the big bear made a sound similar to maniacal laughter. He then began to indiscriminately attack the people below. Within a dozen seconds, a large number of people died. At this time, people realized it is time for them to put aside their hatred and prejudice and face their common enemy. So, prison guards, prisoners, X-Men, and Foundation agents. All of them attacked the metal bear frantically. Countless super abilities and bullets were fired at it. Surprisingly, there is some effect. The material in the lower body of the metal bear continued to break and turned into liquid metal. This also made Metal Bear even angrier. He roared. The body swelled up again. On the arms and back, huge amounts of spikes appeared. With its weird and cruel face, like a demon from hell. This time, even if everyone resisted madly, it was also difficult to resist the attack of the Metal Bear. More and more people died under Metal Bear's truck-sized fists. At the moment, Tony's spare suit flew over. He put it on immediately. Tony flew into the air. Use all your weapons. Bombard the Metal Bear wildly. Cyclops Scott took off his glasses. 2 fierce laser beams bombarded the Metal Bear's head. Storm summoned lightning, striking the metal violently. Suddenly, the Metal Bear's head deflated. Soon, it broke into 2 halves. The molten metal poured down like a waterfall. However, Metal Bear did not die. He was as brave as Xing Tian and sent Tony flying with a precise punch. He grabbed a stone and threw it at Ororo. Ororo summoned a force field to resist, but was still knocked away by huge amounts of force. Then, Metal Bear kicked up a lot of sand. It was accurately pasted on Scott's face. A large amount of sand suddenly entered Scott's eyes. Ah! His eyes hurt like they were exploding. He knelt on the ground and screamed like a pig being slaughtered. It seems that Metal Bear has no opponent anymore. It grabbed Tony and Ororo. Slowly, begin to exert force with both hands. The 2 of them screamed. Just at this moment, Metal Bear's hand suddenly lost its strength. There was a sound of metal being twisted. The Metal Bear's hands were forced to open. Tony and Ororo fell. All I saw was the ground. Eric smiled and held out his hands. constantly twisting outwards. FK, is this person controlling this metal bear? Is this person a mutant? Isn't this ability too abnormal? Metal bear is made of metal. Is this person's ability to control metal? This is definitely an Omega level ability. Wow, a mutant of this level. I'll actually see one in my lifetime. The metal bear's body was constantly twisted. It tried desperately to struggle. But no one can beat Magneto's ability. He was gradually twisted into huge amounts of metal balls. Then Eric frowned. The whole face is exerting force. He desperately pushed his hands closer to each other. It was as if a pair of giant hands made of magnetism were desperately compressing the metal bear's sphere. Final. It turned into a high-density metal ball the size of a human file. Jarvis scanned it carefully. This time, there was really no sign of life. It's just a simple metal ball. The Foundation's agents quickly contained it. On the other side, the agents of the Foundation found Charles. Charles readily handed over the caged 1048 body. And I hope to meet the leader of the Foundation one day. The Foundation's agents said. Maybe there will be such a day. Since then, 1048 has been contained. The other side. Magneto in prison is long gone. However, his image was displayed on the screen. At the moment, he had run into the jungle outside the prison. The tall Mystique stood beside him. Eric smiled. Thank you for this, Raven. Raven smiled sweetly. Actually, you should thank that Foundation. Magneto was stunned. What do you mean? Raven recalled, a few days ago, someone who claimed to be a Foundation agent found me. He said that in a few days, there will be a riot in the prison where you are. So, I'm here to save you. Magneto was stunned. How did this Foundation find Raven, the master of face-changing? And accurately predicted the exact time when the riot would occur. FK, the Foundation knows everything. I understand. The Foundation wanted to use this scammer to deal with Metal Bear, so they found this blue-skinned mutant on purpose. My god, everything is as expected by the Foundation, isn't this too scary? I was thinking that the Foundation's presence wouldn't be that strong this time, but I didn't expect, they had already laid the groundwork for all this. Military base. In the underground laboratory. General Rhodes was shirtless. His body was covered with red blood vessels. He gasped and walked towards the test bench. Inside the test tube, there was a black living thing. Rhodes picked up the test tube with a smile. Venom, Venom, I will be your strongest host. An abandoned house somewhere. This is the temporary base of Eric, Raven, and others. They are discussing the next plan, about how to turn all humans into mutants. Just then, one of his men came running over tremblingly and found Eric. Eric asked impatiently, what is it? The subordinate's face was filled with fear. Over there, there is a lizard. Eric suddenly found it ridiculous. You are afraid of lizards? Then how can you face human guns and bullets? This lizard is so big. Its eyes are from hell. Asgard. Odin awakens from his long sleep. He took a deep look at the lizard in the light curtain. It seems that I have to go to the world of Midgard myself. Those two rebellious sons really give me a lot of worry. On the screen, the subtitles are updated. Anomalous Containment, First Place. Chapter 54. Anomaly Containment 682, Immortal Lizard Object Class, Keter. It's finally here, the final containment. The previous containments were really more terrifying than the last. How terrible will this immortal evil lizard be? Ah, I'm so excited, but I'm also so scared. The finale is a Keter level 1, so it must be incredibly powerful. The immortal evil lizard. I remember that before we took inventory of the first containment, a very scary lizard appeared. Could it be this? Yes, yes, yes. I still remember it. It was a promotional video for the Foundation. There was a huge lizard. The look in its eyes was really scary. Ah, I really feel nervous and excited. After seeing the unclean ones and the shy ones, it's actually hard for me to imagine how powerful the containment can be. By the way, who do you think is stronger, this finale 682 or the shy person? As soon as these words came out, it immediately caused a war of words. S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick took a deep breath to relieve the extreme tension. There's no way to avoid what's coming. This last containment must be the most unusual one. Maybe it's even stronger than the shy one. If that's the case, I really can't think of any way the Foundation can deal with the absolute strength. Qin Yu, you say, Where did Qin Yu go? Banner shook his head, indicating that he didn't know. Natasha Romanoff, he said he had to go out to do something very important and left very early. This kid, a person who escaped from the Foundation, must be someone special. Send someone to keep an eye on him. Somewhere on a mountaintop. Thor and Loki sat there, looking at the curtain of light. Loki seemed preoccupied, but Thor was extremely excited. Thor, it's a lizard. Although I don't know what a lizard is, it sounds very majestic. Loki, I have decided, this will be my mount. Loki, then you must hurry and get it. I have a feeling that father has woken up. The first thing he will do when he wakes up is to take us back to Asgard. So that's what you're worried about. Don't be afraid. If I can tame the strongest creature in the world of Midgard, will my father blame us? It might be more powerful than any of the previous containments. Loki sighed. So what? I have no fear of hordes of the unclean. On the screen, the subtitles began to update. Description: Abnormal Containment 682 is a reptile of gigantic size and unknown origin. It has extremely high intelligence, strength, agility, and reaction speed. It once had an extremely complicated communication with Abnormal Containment 079682 hates all forms of life. Special Containment Procedures: Anomalous Containment 682 must be destroyed as soon as possible. It needs to be contained in a container with 25 cm thick acid-resistant steel plate. The container is to be filled with hydrochloric acid until 682 is completely submerged and unable to resist. This 682 is not going to be detained, but will be executed. This is the only containment that the Foundation has to terminate, right? This is enough to show that it is extremely terrifying. He has a very high intelligence and hates all life. He seems to be a shy person on an enhanced level. You fart. Hydrochloric acid can subdue this thing. Do you think shy people will be afraid of hydrochloric acid? The lizard is blowing and it's coming, right? It seems that none of the previous containments were both extremely powerful and intelligent. I feel like the end of the world is coming. Camartage. A life that hates everything, possessing great wisdom. She murmured. Among the powerful dark creatures that the Ancient One dealt with, the most terrifying kind are those who possess wisdom. The Ancient One sensed a powerful, pure evil somewhere within. I don't know, maybe it comes from the immortal evil lizard. If this is true, this immortal evil lizard would probably be the most powerful containment. Because none of the previous containment had ever made her feel this way. Even the mask of possession after invading Caecilius. On the light curtain. Subtitles updated again. Begin playing the termination log of Anomalous Containment 682 Number 1 The Unclean One. On. Data deleted, day of, data deleted, year, an unexpected leak of Red Sea objects caused an unclean being to come into the real world. The Foundation's agents paid a heavy price to close the portal and capture the unclean alive. At the moment, the subtitles disappeared and the picture began to play. In a huge and empty room. A huge amount of lizard was coiled in the corner. Its green eyes flickered with a light like hellfire. That intense malice. Everyone under the light curtain held their breath. At the moment, on the ceiling, an enormous cage was slowly hoisted and lowered. The cell door opened. The unclean one slowly walked out of it. The size of the immortal lizard compared to the unclean one. It's just a drop in the ocean. The unclean one spotted the immortal lizard and immediately stretched out his arms. At an extremely fast speed, he rushed towards the immortal evil lizard. The immortal evil lizard remained motionless. The unclean one quickly ran to the front of the immortal evil lizard. It grabbed the immortal evil lizard with both hands and stuffed it into its face. In an instant, the immortal evil lizard was swallowed up. The whole process takes no more than 5 seconds. After the meal, the unclean people began to wander around aimlessly. That's it. Gone? Killed instantly by the unclean one. Why is the man who can't blow away the evil lizard silent? And he still wants to compete with the shy person. It seems that we overestimated it. Just at this moment, the unclean one froze. It seemed to sense something was wrong. The next moment, his body swelled violently. With a bang. Explode directly. Brown blood spurted out instantly. Huge amounts of immortal lizards directly burst the unclean ones. The immortal evil lizard crawled out, roaring. Now it is 3 times larger than the unclean one. At the moment, the unclean have begun self-healing. There was a mixture of disgust and anger in the eyes of the immortal evil lizard. It seems to swallow up the unclean. Filthy beast! The voice of the immortal evil lizard seemed like a whisper from hell. He rushed directly towards the unclean one. He simply grabbed the unclean person's head and started tearing the meat apart with his hands. The unclean resisted desperately. But its so-called invincible power, compared with the immortal evil lizard, is like a child's arm against an elephant's leg. The immortal evil lizard frantically tore every piece of flesh and every bone of the unclean. Even as it healed, the immortal evil lizard did not stop. Until the unclean's recovery ability becomes weaker and weaker. It gradually turned into a pool of brown water. Many men, women, old and young burst out of its body. See the unclean die completely. The immortal evil lizard gave up. FK, this immortal evil lizard can also change the file size. I thought it was the undying lizard. I didn't expect it to tear the unclean one apart with its bare hands. I always thought the unclean one's self-healing ability was invincible. Now it seems that our firepower is too small. It's so easy to kill the unclean. It's not an exaggeration to put it at the top. It's so scary. I feel like it can also tear apart shy people like this. S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick held his shaking hands. He had thought that the immortal evil lizard was very powerful. But what he didn't expect was that it would be so powerful. Nick had personally experienced the suffocating despair of the unclean. In the end, I was lucky enough to escape from the mirror world. There was no thought of killing them at all. The immortal lizard killed the unclean one in less than 30 seconds. The subtitles appeared again on the screen. Begin playing the termination log of Anomalous Containment 682. Number 2 Shy People. Chapter 55. FK, here it comes, here it comes. Shy Man vs 682. The showdown between the strongest creatures. I think 682 is doomed this time. Shy people are much stronger than unclean ones. No, it must be the shy ones who get killed instantly. How can the first containment to appear compare to the last one? The picture plays on the screen. It was still an empty room. The immortal lizard is in the corner of the room. After a while, in the air, a tightly sealed iron box was sent down. The people here are shy. Under everyone's nervous gaze, the tin box was opened. The shy person appeared in front of the immortal evil lizard. Right at this moment, both subjects screamed at the same time. The screaming continued. Then, they constantly retreat away from each other. Shy people look very depressed. Moreover, it turned its face towards the opposite direction of the immortal evil lizard. But do not destroy the evil lizard. Facing the corner, the skin and flesh on the body, it actually began to dissipate. Until only 15% of the substance it contains remains. Just stop. However, the immortal evil lizard did not die. After a long time, neither of them made any movement. Then, an impatient doctor trying to expose the shy person's face in front of the immortal evil lizard. The shy person screamed like crazy and turned his face away. At the same time, he began to scratch his face desperately with his hands. A shy person, actually got scared. He was fearless in the face of such a strong magician's attack, but now, he doesn't even dare to look at the immortal evil lizard. What is the immortal evil lizard doing? Why is all the flesh on its body gone? Neither of them dares to fight each other. It seems that their strengths are almost the same, and they can both feel each other's strength. I can't believe that the immortal lizard did nothing to push the shy person to this point. S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick's brain was buzzing. He took a breath. He covered his forehead and took a few steps back. This. He had not expected this at all. He originally thought that shy people could kill the immortal evil lizard. After all, it's too unsolvable. And now, he was actually afraid of the undead lizard to this extent. Doesn't this mean that the immortal evil lizard's strength is at least equivalent to that of a shy human? That is to say, soon, there will be one who is just as powerful as the shy one. Want to kill all living things. And something that cannot be contained invades the earth. Nick slumped in his chair. His eyes were almost unfocused. Stark building. Tony's face was serious. Even shy people are scared like this? This immortal evil lizard is really strong. He turned around and looked at his newly modified battlesuit. I didn't expect that I'd be able to use you so soon. Camartage. Ancient One was also shocked. She had personally experienced how powerful shy people could be. Whether it is the mirror space or the spell that is powerful enough to destroy the city, there is no way to deal with it. And if the evil lizard is not destroyed, it can push shy people to this extent. Shy people are easy to accommodate, just don't look at their faces. But this immortal evil lizard hates all living things. The Ancient One caresses the eye of Agamotto on his chest. Apparently, this time, she is about to take action again. X-College. Charles summoned all the X-Men. And all the X-Men reserve members, Steel, Psylocke, etc. He realized the seriousness of the problem. This immortal evil lizard is more powerful than any previous containment. More dangerous than any other containment object. Boom. Somewhere in a desert. A colorful rainbow, carrying huge amounts of energy. From the air straight to the ground. The light faded. A very tall and strong man, wearing golden armor and holding a spear, appeared. Odin took in his surroundings. He quickly locked onto the locations of Thor and Loki. He looked at the light curtain above his head. The immortal lizard, a tiny lizard that actually frightened the people of Midgard so much. He didn't care about this immortal evil lizard. After all, Odin was dealing with monsters from the level universe. In his eyes, there was no difference between this lizard and an ant. All he wanted now was to find Loki and Thor and give them a good beating. Especially Loki. General Ross, with a large number of troops, as well as helicopters and tanks, is ready to go at any time. His face was full of confidence. He stretched out his hand, watching the symbiote wriggling on it. Then, he took it back into his body. Immortal evil lizard. Hee. You will soon become one of my armies. Eric was almost shocked after reading the execution record of the immortal lizard. Such a horrible thing is right in our own camp? His voice was trembling. Quick, where is that damn lizard? Soon, one of the men reported, that lizard, escaped. What? It was just there. Eric calmed down immediately. His expression was serious. Wearing a helmet that can enhance ability. Look at the light above your head. Charles, I'm sure you'll make a move too. Then, I can't lose to you. Eric laughed at himself, how ironic. After so many years of fighting, we finally have to cooperate. On the light screen, the picture began to play. A huge amount of lizard, more than 30 meters long. On the streets of New York, constantly moving forward. Chapter 56. Suddenly, the residents of New York fled like crazy. Everyone is well aware of the horror of the immortal evil lizard. At the moment, people were crowding and trampling on each other on the streets. The car rushed onto the wide sidewalk without any regard, knocking down a group of people. Some people with a strong desire to survive climbed onto other people's cars. They dragged him for hundreds of meters on the ground, but he still didn't let go. Screams continued. Before the immortal evil lizard could take action, people first killed many of their own compatriots. Help! Help! Get out of my car! What a big lizard! Someone come to save me! Foundation! Please come! S.H.I.E.L.D. At the moment Nick Fury was extremely anxious. It's New York again. This city is so unlucky. It gets invaded every time. Damn it! And the abnormal effect of this monster is definitely not simple. Judging from his performance in killing unclean beings, he seems to have strong adaptability. That is to say, you must never attack it with guns or it might evolve skin that is resistant to bullets. The ideal situation is to control it first, and then wait for the Foundation to contain it. The question is, how can we control it? Looking at the immortal evil lizard gradually crawling towards the city center, Nick Fury became more anxious. If it really goes on a killing spree, I'm afraid the whole city will be destroyed. But, as long as no one is desperate enough to use cannons to blow it up, there is still hope. Just then, Nick's intercom rang. It's Natasha Romanoff's voice. Director. General Ross has entered the restricted area. Our people tried to stop him, but we're all injured by him. Nick's eyes suddenly widened. Ross is a lunatic. What does he want to do? Nick recalled. Ross seems to have always wanted to collect the genes of each containment. To build a super army. Could it be that he wants to collect the genes of the immortal evil lizard? God damn it, Ross. Nick roared. He was frightened and angry, constantly dialing Ross. But Ross didn't answer at all. Ross crushed the ringing phone. Hey, Nick is a coward. Facing such a powerful and beautiful creature, he just hides in his lair. This is why S.H.I.E.L.D. is far behind the Foundation. And I will create an immortal evil lizard army. Ha 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 ha. Whether it's S.H.I.E.L.D. or the Foundation, I will trample them under my feet. Ross laughed maniacally. Soon, the immortal evil lizard appeared in his sight. The huge amounts of figures reminded people of the dinosaurs in Jurassic World. Ross ordered, everyone, pay attention, prepare to fire. All weapons were immediately aimed at the immortal evil lizard. Ross doesn't care about the consequences. All he wanted was skin tissue. Take it, leave, and leave the mess to the Foundation. Ross gave an order. Suddenly, there was a burst of artillery fire. Countless explosions devoured the immortal evil lizard. It roared in pain. Huge amounts of black smoke billowed up. Some things fell off, not sure whether they were skin or flesh. The evil-killing lizard seemed to have stopped moving. Very good, it seems that artillery fire can hurt it. Ross was overjoyed and ordered his men to collect the skin dropped by the immortal lizard. The soldiers walked into the smoke nervously. They saw it vaguely through special glasses. A huge amount of figure was lying on the ground, motionless. Seems to be seriously injured. Only then did they feel relieved. Reach out and pick up those pieces of skin and flesh. Suddenly, two huge amounts of green eyes, burning like hellfire, appeared from the black fog. Then, a bloody mouth appeared. He bit the soldiers in one go. The immortal evil lizard raised its head. Open your mouth. It swallowed the soldiers into its stomach in one gulp. The smoke cleared. The size of the immortal evil lizard has grown a lot bigger. All the wounds have been healed. Very clever. Ross sneered, hide in the smoke and launch a sneak attack. It seems that one round of bombing is not enough. Continue. The artillery fire rang out again. This time, Ross even used a rocket launcher similar to Katyusha. Nick Fury yelled in horror, Ross UBD. Can't you see it has evolved? Stop it now. Damn it, everyone move out. We can't stop the immortal lizard, but we have to stop Ross. We can't let the immortal lizard continue to evolve. Dozens of rockets were fired at the immortal evil lizard. Boom. Huge amounts of explosions and flames engulfed the undying lizards. Even the surrounding buildings were instantly collapsed by the shockwave. The immortal evil lizard's flesh and blood splattered all over. The bones were exposed. Ross was overjoyed, keep bombing. Boom. Another salvo. The flesh and blood of the immortal evil lizard constantly disappears. But, at that moment, only 15% of the substance in its body was left. Flesh and blood began to grow again at an astonishing speed. Ross looked horrified. He never expected that the immortal evil lizard would evolve again. And so fast. Can't even Katyusha be shut down temporarily? Hurry up, keep firing, why are you just standing there? Ross yelled at his men. Countless missiles bombarded the immortal evil lizard again. But, there was no effect at all. It's like shooting a tiger with a water gun. The immortal evil lizard rushed out directly from the flames. Even the speed was not affected at all. Those missiles didn't even hurt it. Ross's voice was trembling, just now the shells were able to hurt it, why is it ineffective now? Damn, I really underestimated this monster. Suddenly, his expression changed from sadness to joy, the stronger it is, the stronger my immortal lizard army will be. The immortal evil lizard is slaughtering Ross's men crazily. The huge amounts of claws crushed one rocket car after another. The soldiers raised their guns and fought back in desperation. But either you'll be trampled into a meat patty, or be blown to pieces. Ross smiled and straightened his clothes. It seems that I still have to do it myself. He gave a cruel smile. Clenched his fists. I'm using all my strength. Suddenly, countless red blood vessels burst out of his body. Ross roared. The body swelled several times. Huge amounts of terrifying muscles were squeezing and shape-shifting the tank in an instant. The unlucky driver even had his internal organs squeezed out. Rose's skin gradually turned red. The clothes were completely destroyed. His roar gradually became more and more rough. Then, he tore through the tank like cardboard. Get out of it! The anger in the eyes of the immortal lizard seemed to devour Ross. Filthy creature, disgusting. The immortal lizard rushed towards Ross. Even if Ross transformed into the red giant, its size is less than a quarter of the immortal evil lizard. But there was not a trace of fear on his face. "Excuse me, this filthy creature of mine will tear you into pieces." Suddenly, Ross opened his arms. On his body, the symbiotes are like hundreds of serpentine snakes. It covered Ross's body in an instant. Rose's size began to explode. A large number of symbiotes constitute part of Ross's body. He is now much larger than the immortal evil lizard. Ah ha 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 ha. Ross looked at his hands. What a powerful force, the symbiote. If I create an army of immortal lizards and let them all be possessed by the symbiote, the whole world will submit to me. Ha 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 ha. Ross, who was possessed by the symbiote, became even crazier. He pounced towards the immortal evil lizard. The two men's huge hands were held together. The wrestling began. When did Ross turn himself into a monster? Nick's voice trembled. Nick was filled with fear, but he was also secretly looking forward to it. What if Ross can really kill the immortal lizard? He still remembered how the symbiote turned a baby into a horrible monster. What's more, he is possessed by a monster similar to the Hulk. This immortal evil lizard, is it really immortal? Chapter 57. Under the light curtain. Isn't this the black thing on 1048b? How could this red giant be possessed by that thing? This black thing seems to make the host very powerful. Even a baby can be strengthened like that. I think this red giant might really be able to kill the immortal evil lizard. I think so too. The reason why rocket launchers and bullets can make it evolve is because they are not powerful enough. Can't we just kill it directly? Where do you get your confidence from? Have you forgotten that it tore the unclean alive? The unclean are only scary if there are a lot of them. What's so great about just one? Even an army can be killed if there's enough firepower. Natasha Romanoff looked up. He stared blankly at the two huge monsters, which burst out with amazing power. The shaking of the ground almost made her fall. If Ross had failed to kill the immortal lizard and allowed it to evolve further, a strong sense of fear surged into Natasha Romanoff's heart. At that time, what else can be used to deal with it? Nuclear weapons? No, if even nuclear weapons can't kill it, it will only make it more terrifying. In the light curtain, Ross roared, using all his strength. He actually used his strength to constantly force back the immortal evil lizard. Then, he directly lifted up the immortal evil lizard. Raised above the head. It seemed as if he was demonstrating his terrible power. Then, with a loud roar, he threw the immortal evil lizard out. The immortal evil lizard slammed heavily to the ground. And it didn't stop. A large area of ground was overturned. Ross did not stop attacking. He jumped into the air. First, a large amount of black cobweb was sprayed out. Tie the immortal evil lizard tightly to the ground. Then he used the force of falling. A punch hit the head of the immortal evil lizard. All I heard was a click. The skull of the immortal lizard cracked. Then, Ross had no hesitation. Grab its head. Twist your neck right. With a click. Twisted the cervical vertebrae of the immortal evil lizard. That's all, ha 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 ha. Ross spoke arrogantly, but his actions did not show any hesitation. He directly tore off a piece of flesh from the immortal evil lizard. Then he turned and ran away. He didn't expect that he could kill the immortal evil lizard after transforming. He just wanted to take advantage of the short period of time when the immortal lizard was self-healing. Take its meat and escape back to base. Then, we began to study its DNA. That's enough. Ross looked at the bloody meat, so I can. Suddenly, Ross felt. Behind him, a pair of eyes from hell were staring at him. The breath on his back was extremely hot. Ross felt extremely cold. He stopped. Impossible. Ross shook his head in disbelief. It's only been less than 5 seconds. I've clearly broken its cervical vertebrae. How could it recover so quickly? Ross turned around suddenly. He saw the immortal evil lizard looking down at him. The immortal evil lizard's body grew larger again. A head taller than Ross. Moreover, the morphology of the skeleton has also changed. It looks even more terrifying. Damn it! Ross roared. Spray a large amount of symbiote onto the legs of the immortal lizard. Just restrain the immortal lizard for a short while. He can run away. The immortal lizard's legs were entangled with a large amount of black cobweb. But it's just taking steps. All those cobwebs were torn apart. As fragile as marshmallow. Then, the immortal lizard pounced on Ross. He was pushed to the ground in an instant. Then, the immortal lizard's hand inserted into Ross's body. The other hand also inserted. Then pull it. Directly split Ross in two. Ross's scream stopped abruptly. A large amount of blood, internal organs, and melted symbiote gushed out like a fountain. The dilapidated buildings around were all dyed black and red. Damn you beast! The immortal evil lizard roared. It tore, bit, and smashed Ross's body parts frantically. He didn't stop until Ross turned into a puddle of meat sauce. Rose doesn't have as strong a recovery ability as Hulk. His soul was smashed into pulp. Then, the immortal lizard grabbed those symbiotes. Accompanied by the symbiote's scream. The immortal evil lizard threw them into its mouth and swallowed them like kelp. At the moment, the immortal evil lizard was already as tall as an 8-story building. It seemed invincible. Suddenly, a red-orange magic chain tightly bound the ankles of the immortal evil lizard. The immortal evil lizard roared. He looked back. A woman in a yellow robe is casting a magic chain. Damn you beast! It rushed towards her at great speed. Slap it with one hand. Ancient One was directly dispersed. But the next moment, hundreds of Ancient Ones appeared in the air. Hundreds of chains flew out at the same time, releasing gorgeous sparks. The limbs of the immortal evil lizard were tied tightly. The scene was like a huge amounts of golden peacock spreading its feathers. Extremely shocking. The immortal evil lizard struggled desperately. But it couldn't move. Moreover, the Ancient One did not cause any substantial harm to the immortal lizard. So it cannot evolve, and cannot break free. The immortal evil lizard roared and struggled hard, but it was of no avail. The Ancient One let out a sigh. Next, we just have to wait for the Foundation to take action. The golden light produced by the chains illuminated Natasha Romanoff's fair face. It also made her feel extremely at ease. Is this the power of a magician? Under the light curtain. Ah, Sister Magician is so strong. She actually controlled the immortal evil lizard. How smart. They restricted its movements instead of hurting it. Ever since she fought that masked man, I knew she would take action at the critical moment. Sure enough, she did. She subdued the most terrifying demon with just one move. S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick clutched his chest. Slumped in the chair. Finally, a reliable person has arrived. I didn't expect it to be so smooth this time. There weren't many casualties, and we successfully trapped the immortal evil lizard. This female magician is so powerful. But why didn't she take action when we were trapped in the Red Sea world? Ancient One couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. She really wasn't sure that she could trap the immortal evil lizard at this stage with her own strength. At the moment, in the air, two cloaks, one red and one green, flew towards this side. The Ancient One suddenly had a bad feeling. Thor flew over. He looked at the extremely domineering and indestructible evil lizard and felt extremely moved. If this mount could be tamed by him, it is definitely 10,000 times more powerful than any Asgard mount, including the giant wolf Fenrir. Imagine the surprise and admiration of his friends and people. Thor began to swell up. Thor tightened his grip on the hammer. Loki smiled slightly. He sensed that Odin had arrived on Earth. Chapter 58. Ancient One saw the two men coming. My heart suddenly skipped a beat. Loki and Thor. Every time these two people appear, nothing good seems to happen. Although they made a great contribution in dealing with the unclean ones last time. But Ancient One thinks. These two Asgard gods. In his hometown, he is like a god of war. I basically haven't encountered any setbacks. So they don't have enough respect for the objects they contain. Thor flew in front of the immortal lizard in an instant. He brandished his hammer and looked at the undying lizard with a haughty look. Aha, now you can't move, right? The Ancient One immediately stood in front of them. Don't attack it. It's already under control. Now, just wait for the Foundation to come and contain it. Please rest assured, lady, I will not harm it. Thor smiled, but I declare that this containment has been taken over by Asgard. Do you treat it as a pet? Don't you realize how dangerous it is? Can you control it? A rare look of anger appeared on the Ancient One's face. Ha ha ha. Thor laughed. Excuse me, ma'am, you know nothing about Asgard. Do you know what we have faced before? Giants of Jotunheim, Surti, Space Zerg. Which of these is not much more dangerous than this lizard? I don't believe that there is anything in this universe that Asgard cannot contain. The Ancient One was about to refute him with the dimension Mephistodormamu. Was interrupted by Loki. Don't worry, Sorcerer Supreme. If we bring it back to Asgard, won't it just reduce a scourge on Earth? Even if it gets out of control, it will get out of control in Asgard. Besides, do you really think that the Foundation is more powerful than the Asgard Protoss? The Ancient One's expression grew serious. An incomparable heroic spirit appeared on her face. She looked at Loki and Thor coldly. What if I still refuse? In her hand, a rune disc appeared. Oh. Thor waved his hands quickly. If you have any objections, we can discuss it again. There is no need to take action. Ha 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 ha. Suddenly, a low and cold laugh sounded from behind the few people. Thor was almost frightened. He turned around. It saw the immortal evil lizard staring at it with contempt. A bunch of stupid beasts, even more ridiculous than ants. The immortal evil lizard said slowly. The gods of Asgard are nothing but a bunch of dirty bugs. The little prince escaped to Earth, thinking he could become a god, but ended up being lectured over and over again. How ridiculous! Hearing this, Thor clenched the hammer in his hand. If you have the guts, say it again. Loki immediately blocked his hammer. Calm down, Thor, he's just trying to irritate you. Yes, that's right, hide behind your brother. You should thank your mother. It was her stupid purple work that gave birth to a shame of the gods like you. The immortal evil lizard constantly mocked Thor. Damn BD! Thor's hand holding the hammer was shaking violently. Lightning flashed from his eyes. Ancient One was shocked. Not good. She quickly summoned ropes and tried to tie up Thor. But it was still too late. Thor was seen rushing towards the immortal lizard rapidly. Even Loki was knocked down. He roared, "How dare you slander the Asgard Protoss!" Boom! A hammer surrounded by lightning, struck with great force. Directly smashed the immortal evil lizard's head. Its head exploded. Fragments of skin and flesh burst and flew out like watermelon pulp. Lightning burst out in the middle. This scene was extremely shocking. Thor gasps. Looking at the headless corpse of the immortal evil lizard on the ground. And a puddle of vomit-like mixture. He didn't expect it either. He smashed the immortal evil lizard's head with one hammer. It seems that the immortal evil lizard is definitely dead. After all, even the head is gone. Self-healing ability cannot function. Loki got up from the ground. See this scene? He yelled in horror, "Thor, what have you done?" Thor looked at the lifeless corpse of the undying lizard. Don't worry, it can't evolve again. It seems that we have indeed overestimated its strength. The Ancient One's lip trembled. She tried her best. There are countless duplications, releasing the chains. The immortal evil lizard was tied up tightly. Thor, you don't need to tie up a body anymore. Doesn't the Foundation want to terminate it? Go back and tell them that I have. He hasn't finished speaking yet. The corpse of the immortal evil lizard. Suddenly it moved. His figure expanded further. Countless hard skins emerged, covering the body like scales. Then, he easily broke free from the Ancient One's chains. He grabbed Thor. The speed is fast. Thor didn't react at all. Then, the head of the immortal evil lizard grew out quickly. Bugs from Asgard, disgusting beyond belief, just like your ridiculous godhood. The immortal evil lizard increased the strength in his hands. Thor immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. He felt like his internal organs were about to burst. Moreover, the immortal evil lizard is constantly increasing its strength. Thor's dignity and arrogance as a god. It is now gone. He stretched out his hand desperately and prayed in a very weak voice. Loki, save me. Loki gritted his teeth. 2 balls of purple-black energy appeared in his hands. But he knew that using magic to attack the immortal evil lizard would be useless. There's no way to save Thor. It will also allow the immortal evil lizard to evolve further. But he couldn't just watch Thor die. No matter how stupid he was still Loki's brother. Just as Loki was about to take action, a deep voice sounded. Stupid kids then. A ray of white light flashed past the immortal evil lizard at an extremely fast speed. The next moment, the arms of the immortal evil lizard just fall together. The incision was extremely neat. Apparently it was caused by something extremely sharp. Thor quickly crawled out from the broken arm of the undying lizard, coughing violently. He saw who was coming. Suddenly, I was stunned. Father, father! Thor said weakly. He froze in place. Surprise and guilt surged in my heart. Father! Loki knelt quickly. He was extremely grateful. Fortunately, Odin arrived in time. Otherwise, both Thor and himself would probably die. Loki is not worried at all now. Odin's strength is said to be the best in the 9 realms, and no one dares to say he is second. Thor's strength, compared to him. It's no exaggeration to say that it's like children playing house. No matter how much the immortal lizard evolves, it can never defeat Odin. Even Ancient One felt a sense of relief. After all, Odin is a level godfather. No matter how powerful the immortal evil lizard is. I'm afraid there is an insurmountable gap between him and Odin. At the moment Odin holds the Spear of Eternity. Looking calmly at the immortal evil lizard in front of him. Chapter 59. Odin claims to be the benevolent father of the 9 realms, but in fact he is dirtier than a bedbug. The so-called god is really ridiculous. The laughter of the immortal evil lizard was full of ridicule and disdain. But Odin didn't even blink. In Odin's eyes, the immortal evil lizard is the stink bug. A monster that can evolve and self-heal. Odin had no idea how many of them he had dealt with. The lizard in front of me has no idea of the immensity of heaven and earth. In his eyes, they are just ants that can be crushed to death at any time. It's ridiculous that the words of an ant can cause Odin to have emotional changes. At the moment's immortal evil lizard, the arm recovered quickly. And, become more slender. The scales on his body. It also became bumpy. The immortal evil lizard roared. Open your bloody mouth. Towards Odin and others. Just bit it. It's deceptively fast. But in Odin's eyes, it was like slow motion. Odin cannot avoid it. Because the immortal lizard will attack the injured Thor. Besides, there was no need for him to avoid it. He was quite sure. The Spear of Eternity can easily annihilate the lizard. Odin raised his gun. Point the tip of the gun at the immortal evil lizard. Boom. Powerful, pure energy. It gushed out violently from the tip of the gun. A moment. The immortal evil lizard disappeared. Energy dissipates. Odin took back the gun. The immortal evil lizard was blasted to the point where only a thin layer of skin and a few scattered bone fragments were left, falling from the sky. Odin's expression remained calm. It was as if I had just stepped on an ant to death. Back then, Surti, who was able to destroy the world, was killed instantly by this move. This lizard. It's like using a sledgehammer to crack a nut. Is he really dead now? Yes, the immortal lizard can recover as long as it has 15% of its mass, but this one obviously has less than 1%. Yes, the gods are still powerful. I was surprised that the immortal lizard could recover even after its head was smashed. But now, it seems that in the face of hard power, all abnormal effects are nothing. Yes, no matter how terrible the containment objects are, they are only for humans. These gods are simply a dimensionality reduction attack. The one with horns is Loki, the one who doesn't look very smart is Thor, and the old man is obviously Odin. As I expected, he is even more powerful than in the myth. S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick's chest heaved violently. His mood is up and down. Just now when Thor attacked the immortal lizard. Nick wants to skin this idiot. But he saw the terrifying power of Odin. Nick was suddenly silent. It seems that there are always people better than you and there are always mountains better than you. Anomalous containment may be very strong on Earth. But facing the real God. Still not good enough. Even if you are mentally prepared. Tony was still shocked by how powerful Odin was. That Thor is a ruthless guy who is just as tough as the angry Hulk. Such a person was almost crushed to death by the immortal evil lizard with his bare hands. And Odin. Kill instantly with one move. Is this the Protoss? Tony muttered to himself, if, in the future, there really is a containment object as powerful as him that invades the Earth, what should we do then? Is there really anyone who can stop it? In the light curtain. Odin turned slowly. Seeing Odin, the Ancient One bowed slightly as a sign of respect. Odin just nodded slightly. This is already a high respect, after all, Odin is the father of the 9 realms. Odin also knew the Ancient One, who was an Asgardian on Earth. Then, Odin looked at Thor and Loki with a serious look. You two, took advantage of my deep sleep and ran to Midgard without permission. You almost lost your lives here. Loki. Hear this angry voice. Loki's body went rigid. As the main culprit, you will be sentenced to 3 months of confinement. Thor. As the future heir of Asgard, you are so childish and frivolous. Facing your brother's wrongdoings, not only did you not stop him, but you joined him. You are unable to shoulder the responsibility of being a king. You are now deprived of your qualifications as an heir until one day you understand what Asgard is. Just as Odin was giving his 2 sons a lecture passionately, Thor and Loki looked behind Odin. His expression suddenly became one of extreme fear. When Odin saw their expressions, he immediately had a bad feeling. He turned back suddenly. Just see. The huge amounts of skeleton of the immortal evil lizard are growing into the sky. And its flesh and blood. It is covering every bone of it at a terrifying speed. Odin suddenly showed a look of horror. This lizard was blasted to pieces, but it was able to recover. What kind of monster is this? Whether it is Surti, or other more powerful creatures. It's impossible to do this. Odin immediately raised the Spear of Eternity. Roaring. An even more violent energy burst out than before. It blasted straight towards the body of the immortal evil lizard. However, the immortal evil lizard simply raised his hand. He easily blocked the attack. Not even a scratch was left. Odin's eyes widened. The lips trembled constantly. Yes, yes. The immortal lizard's lungs had just grown out, and its tongue hadn't recovered yet, so its voice sounded a little shrill. You've seen this kind of expression of fear on other people, right, Odin? The body of the immortal evil lizard. Complete recovery. His body had grown so big that it blocked out the sky and the sun. It is much taller than the financial building next to it. Now, you have become an ant too. How does it feel? The immortal evil lizard leaned down. Those green eyes from hell were as big as a truck. The rage in it seemed to burn Odin to ashes. Odin tried desperately to raise his gun. But, the terrifying oppressive feeling of the immortal evil lizard let him be unable to move at all. At the moment, the Ancient One quickly summoned a portal. Go in quickly. The giant palm of the immortal evil lizard has already slapped down. Loki's mind went blank. He instinctively pushed Thor and Odin desperately into the portal. When he was about to jump into, that huge palm smashed down heavily. Boom! The earth trembled and cracked. The Ancient One was sent flying many miles by huge amounts of shockwave. The portal along with everything around it. They were all smashed down by the giant palm. At the moment, Eric, Mystique, and several mutants also arrived here. The strong earthquake almost knocked them over. Looking at the immortal evil lizard that is even bigger than Godzilla, Eric was suddenly filled with fear. Damn it, I'm still a step too late. But then, he stretched out his hands. It seemed that he had a trump card in his hand that could be used to deal with the immortal evil lizard. I'm sorry, Charles. Eric stared at the immortal lizard. This time, you are going to fall behind again. Chapter 60. Under the light curtain. No, it's impossible. Why can't it recover after being blasted into pieces? Is this immortal evil lizard really invincible? It's over, everything is over. The immortal lizard has evolved to this point, and it is unstoppable. If Odin can't kill it, then no one else in this universe can do it. Even nuclear weapons can't hurt it at all. Is today the end of the world? Foundation, if you have a solution, please use it quickly. You are our last hope. It's said on the screen that the Foundation can't execute it. Moreover, it has evolved to this point. The immortal lizard can no longer be stopped. We can only wait for it to destroy the world. It's all over. Nick's face was full of despair. This was the first time he felt that all hope was lost. Any previous containment? None of them are like the immortal evil lizard. So despairing. Damn it. Tony Stark looked at the weapons all over his body. But there is nothing I can do. Even Odin cannot kill the immortal lizard. He has even less power with these small guns and cannons. Is there really no way to stop this monster? At the moment, Tony suddenly thought of something. Maybe I could use that thing. Odin and Thor were pushed into the portal. The moment before the portal closes, Thor saw that Loki was slammed to the ground by the giant palm of the immortal evil lizard. The bright red blood spurted out. Loki! Thor roared. Tears fell like rain. His eyes were bloodshot. Thor nearly collapsed. He raised his hammer and was about to fly into the sky. Odin pulled him down. Thor struggled desperately, "Let me go, I want to save Loki. I want to save Loki." Odin said nothing, but just pulled Thor. He looked very sad. At the moment's immortal evil lizard. There was widespread destruction in the city. It crushes the humans beneath its feet like it would crush a bedbug. It's so powerful. Eric used his control over the magnetic field to fly into the sky. But, are you really invincible, immortal evil lizard? Eric originally flew quietly towards the immortal lizard. Planned to approach it from the rear. But the immortal lizard spotted Eric immediately. Look back instantly. Eric and the two green lanterns looked at each other. I was immediately shocked and broke out in a cold sweat. Ah, another disgusting maggot. The terrifying eyes of the immortal evil lizard. It really gave Eric a great sense of oppression. Eric took a deep breath. It seems that I have no choice but to force it. In fact, he was not sure whether that trick would work. After all, Odin had injured the immortal lizard to such an extent, and the immortal lizard could still self-heal. But, anyway, you have to give it a try. Eric opened his arms. Suddenly, the magnetic fields around began to distort. Countless steel bars on the building broke through the concrete and flew towards the immortal evil lizard. The steel bars were twisted into ropes as thick as a bridge. Tied the immortal evil lizard's hands. But the immortal evil lizard raised his hand slightly. The steel bar broke instantly. Damn it! Eric was suddenly shocked. He didn't expect it. He tried his best, but he couldn't control the immortal evil lizard for even a millisecond. Eric had to get close to the undying lizard to use that move. However, without controlling the immortal evil lizard, he couldn't get close at all. At the moment, the injured Ancient One fell to the ground and climbed up with difficulty. She coughed violently. The blood dyed her fair face red. The Ancient One waved his hand. The green light merged into her body. With the help of healing magic, she struggled to get up. She looked at Eric, who was fighting fiercely with the undying lizard. She realized she had to do something. So she endured the severe pain in her body. Mobilizing all the magical energy. Waves of energy ruffled the Ancient One's hair. Combined with her blood-stained face. It looks like it has a unique temperament. At the same time, beside the immortal evil lizard, huge amounts of red silk extended from the magic discs on both sides. Directly tied up the immortal evil lizard's hands. This move took too much toll on Ancient One's already injured body. Her brain was dizzy for a moment. My vision gradually became blurred. But she had to hold on. Eric rushed towards the immortal lizard desperately. But, it's too late. The immortal evil lizard struggled desperately. Its power is simply too great. The red satin will soon break. And Eric is still some distance away from being the immortal lizard. Just at this moment. In the sky. Dozens of huge amounts of strangely shaped iron blocks fell down in an instant. They are like huge amounts of iron tongs. It hit the arm of the immortal evil lizard. And firmly fixed to the ground. At the moment, Tony in the air lowered his hands and gasped, "Success!" These were originally giant mechanical claws that Tony made to carry heavy objects. Unexpectedly, it came in handy at this moment. Eric's eyes widened. He knew that the opportunity had come. Rushing desperately towards the head of the immortal evil lizard. And the indestructible evil lizard also broke free from its restraints. Pull out the giant mechanical claw by the roots. And tear the red satin. His huge hand. Just take a picture of Eric. But, at this critical moment, Eric's hands touched the head of the immortal lizard. He roared. Suddenly, the magnetic field in the immortal evil lizard's brain was controlled by Eric. This is Magneto's true ability. Not controlling metal. It's controlling magnetic field. The muscles of the immortal evil lizard suddenly lost their strength. It fell to its knees, its arms drooping. At the same time, it let out an extremely creepy scream. Eric messed with its brain. It makes it impossible to think at all. Just control it, not hurt it, that's enough. Look at the performance of the immortal evil lizard. Eric was overjoyed. It works. The Ancient One on the ground covered his chest. Breathing hard, could it be successful? Eric continues to control the magnetic field in the immortal lizard's brain. The brain of the immortal evil lizard is almost dead. Its eyes also became unfocused. Eric continued to exert force. As long as you can control the immortal evil lizard, it means defeating it. However, the eyes of the immortal evil lizard suddenly became extremely clear. It stared at Eric. Suddenly, Eric's smile disappeared. No, it's impossible. At the moment, the immortal lizard's brain was disrupted by 85%. But Eric couldn't go any further. Moreover, the brain magnetic field of the immortal evil lizard is constantly recovering. Is this what you're all about, bug? The immortal evil lizard swung out with one palm. Eric quickly used the magnetic shield to defend himself. But he was still shot and flew far away. At the moment, Charles was pushing a wheelchair. Arrived on the battlefield. He was surrounded by Qin, Ororo, Logan, and others. He looked at Eric who was lying on the ground and sighed, "You have done your best, old friend." Charles looked at Jean Grey. He said to her almost in a pleading tone, "You are our last hope, Qin." Qin took a deep breath. Stride towards the battlefield. In her eyes, flashing with dazzling flames. Chapter 61. The immortal lizard walked towards Eric. It seemed, quite angry at Eric. Dirty bugs, dirty deeds. It lifted its foot. The huge amounts of solace almost covered the sky and the sun. Eric couldn't move. He could only watch the solace of his feet getting closer and closer to his face. No. Eric. Mystique reached out desperately. But she couldn't do anything. Suddenly, a figure rushed towards Eric at an extremely fast speed. Then, the immortal evil lizard stepped down with its foot. However, but it felt like it had stepped on nothing. Look down. I saw Shadowcat Katie, supporting Eric. She showed a confident smile that was unique to young girls. Her ability allows her flesh to penetrate solid objects. So the attack of the immortal evil lizard failed. The immortal evil lizard became angry and embarrassed. He continued to trample Katie and Eric. But there was no effect. At the moment, Storm Ororo summons a storm of huge amounts of captivated the eyes of the immortal evil lizard. Take this opportunity. Shadowcat took Eric and quickly fled the place. In less than a few seconds, the eyes of the immortal lizard evolved the ability to resist sand. It braved the sandstorm and attacked the X-Men frantically. The X-Men knew that they could not hurt the immortal lizard. Even if it is injured, the immortal evil lizard will evolve again. But they had no choice but to hold back the immortal lizard. Otherwise, it would massacre more New York citizens. There are not only humans here. There are many other mutant compatriots. On the ground, Scott took off his glasses and roared, releasing all his strength. The laser carrying terrifying energy shot towards the eyes of the immortal evil lizard. Easily blocked by the immortal evil lizard. The immortal evil lizard stepped towards Scott. Katie arrived just in time and touched Scott, neutralizing the attack. The battle here is getting more intense. But on the other side, Jean Grey was slowly walking towards the immortal evil lizard. It seemed that everything except the immortal evil lizard had nothing to do with her. The mutants actually fought with the immortal lizards. They are really professional. Although there was no damage, they cooperated very well. What else can they do? Even Odin was nearly killed by the immortal lizard. Wait a minute, did you see the woman in the red dress? I see, she's very charming. I don't know why, but I feel like she's very strong. I feel the same way. Could it be that she is a trump card? S.H.I.E.L.D. The moment Nick saw Qin, my pupils suddenly trembled. Could it be that rumor is true? Nick Fury is the boss of the top intelligence agency. Of course, I heard about Professor X recruiting a powerful mutant child. Although I don't know the exact details. But this child seemed to have been controlled by Professor X using some special means. Otherwise, she will have the power to destroy the universe. At the time, Nick took it as a joke. Jean Grey is probably just one of countless mutants with ability. But now, Qin walked towards the immortal evil lizard without any fear. Professor X also looked determined to win. Could it be? Could it be that the rumor is true? Nick Fury suddenly didn't know whether to be happy or sad. Is she more powerful than Odin? The immortal lizard constantly attacks the X-Men. Damn those flies! Damn them! Suddenly, he felt the approach of a powerful presence. Suddenly, he looked towards Qin Gray. When I saw the blazing fire in Qin's eyes, the immortal lizard was in disbelief. How could it be a phoenix? He immediately shook off the mutants around him. Then he turned and ran towards Qin. Damn phoenix, as disgusting as a bedbug. Suddenly, Qin Gray's eyes widened. The flames grew hotter and hotter. Her red hair was burning with flames. Behind him, a pair of huge amounts of phoenix wings instantly spread out. A moment. The tremendous power of the phoenix. It seems to have filled the entire city. A hot and intense light. Everyone under the light curtain couldn't help but cover their eyes. Suddenly, the immortal evil lizard was forced to stop by phoenix force. Damn, this power. A moment. The immortal evil lizard's mental defense was broken. Charles immediately activated his ability. He broke into the spiritual world of the immortal evil lizard. And sent Jean Grey in. In a pitch-black space. There are only the immortal lizard and Jean Grey. The immortal lizard looked at the surrounding environment and said, "Damn flies, they actually invaded my spiritual realm." The wings behind Jean Grey emitted a dazzling light. She roared. The body size instantly expanded 100 times. The immortal evil lizard looked up at her, but could do nothing. Its spiritual power is far too weak compared to that of the phoenix. Even so, there are only fragments of the phoenix inside the piano. Qin's hand, burning with flames, grabbed the immortal evil lizard. Suddenly, the primordial spirit of the immortal evil lizard began to burn. In reality, the body of the immortal evil lizard was gradually burned to ashes. This is Charles's trump card. He is gambling. Jean Grey is able to unleash the power of the phoenix. In this way, she can destroy the immortal lizard in the spiritual realm. The body in the spiritual realm is equivalent to the soul or spirit. When the soul is destroyed, the body will naturally die. This was Charles's plan. Instead of directly harming the body of the immortal evil lizard, destroy its soul. At the moment, the immortal evil lizard in the spiritual realm. The body was burned to the point where only a small piece was left. That is 15% of the mass. Come here. Suddenly, the body of the immortal evil lizard stopped dissipating. Instead, recovery began. This shocked Jean Grey greatly. She constantly increased her strength, releasing the full phoenix force. But there was no effect at all. She could only watch the immortal lizard constantly recovering its body. And it's getting bigger and bigger. Until it was dozens of times larger than Qin's body. Ah, Phoenix, is this all the power you have? Charles was shocked. How is it possible, it can even adapt to mental attacks? He tried desperately to pull Jean out of the spirit realm. But it's impossible. At the moment, in the spiritual realm, the immortal evil lizard grabbed Jean Grey's neck tightly. In reality, Jean fell to her knees in agony. A clear handprint appeared on the neck. Charles was shaking all over, blood pouring from his nostrils. The burning body of the immortal evil lizard recovered again and expanded several times. The X-Men around him also fell to the ground in pain because of the mental attack evolved by the immortal lizard. Ancient One looked at this scene and shook his head constantly. No, it shouldn't be like this. She rushed over quickly. Prepare to open the portal and rescue the mutants. Want to save these flies? Asgardians from Bug Planet. The immortal lizard's terrifyingly thick tail swung violently towards the Ancient One. Ancient One quickly activated the rune shield to resist. With a loud bang, the shield shattered instantly. The Ancient One was sent flying into the air with huge amounts of force. She fell into a coma. It fell straight to the ground from a height of several hundred meters. Just when everyone under the light curtain thought that Ancient One was about to fall, a figure flashed over in an instant. A pair of strong arms caught Ancient One steadily. In the light curtain, a young man wearing a mask stopped in mid-air. He held the Ancient One in his arms. Under the light curtain, people could clearly see the Foundation logo on his mask. Nick Fury was stunned. This kid, why does he look so familiar? Chapter 62. The Foundation. The Foundation is here. He saved the female magician. He can actually fly. It seems that there are also members of the Foundation who have super abilities. It seems that he is the only one here? Could it be that he has a way to defeat the immortal lizard? Ah, even though we know the hope is slim, the Foundation always manages to turn danger into safety. We have no choice but to trust him. Do you think this person could be the boss of the Foundation? His temperament seems very unique. The immortal evil lizard saw Qin Yu. Because its body is too large. So much so that all the sunlight was blocked by it. Qin Yu and Ancient One were completely shrouded in darkness. The green eyes of the immortal evil lizard looked particularly bright. The immortal lizard stared at Qin Yu. You rat from the Foundation, after I kill you, I will chop, slice, and mince your fellow rats one by one. It seems that the immortal lizard hates the Foundation very much. It can't be blamed for this. After all, who wants to be soaked in concentrated hydrochloric acid all the time? The immortal evil lizard rushed towards Qin Yu. He opened his arms. It seemed that he was very eager to kill Qin Yu. The immortal evil lizard is sure. Now, there is nothing anyone can do to stop it. It's going to destroy the Foundation. Then, kill all living things on Earth. Qin Yu looked at the huge monster rushing towards him. No movement, no dodging. Just watch it quietly. At the same time, he hugged the Ancient One tightly in his arms. Wait until the immortal evil lizard is very close to him. Qin Yu stretched out his hand. Huge amounts of yellow gel appeared on top. The immortal lizard immediately laughed. A ball of snot? Is this your struggle before death? Qin Yu remained silent. He raised his hand. Throw the ball of yellow gel away. The thing hit the immortal evil lizard directly in the face. The immortal evil lizard did not dodge, nor did it bother to dodge. But, his huge hand was about to slap Qin Yu. Suddenly it stopped. Wait, that yellow thing is moving. Isn't this anomalous containment 999? The tickle monster. Will this be useful against the immortal evil lizard? Could it be that the Foundation really wants to use the itch monster to deal with the undying lizard? If you think about it carefully, it's not impossible. After all, Thor and Loki were both subdued by it. Moreover, the boy wearing the mask looks very confident. The immortal lizard is immune to mental and electromagnetic attacks and has evolved. Will tickling really have any effect on it? The immortal evil lizard in the light curtain. He actually took a few steps back. This is, what a feeling, it's so strange. At the moment the tickle monster was wriggling on its head. The immortal lizard suddenly raged, what a boring trick. He pulled the tickle monster off and threw it to the ground. Then he stepped on it. He also rolled it hard a few times. But the tickle monster seems to be fine. He simply wrapped the immortal evil lizard's feet with his body. Then, start practicing. The immortal evil lizard was stunned. Why, damn it, there's no way, I feel fine. Even if the immortal evil lizard wants to make an attacking move, he couldn't do it either. Stop, stop, I feel itchy. The body of the immortal evil lizard began to tremble. At the moment, the itch monster began to climb up the calf of the immortal lizard. Until it climbed onto its neck. At this time, the tickle monster extended its tentacles. It began to smile and tickle the immortal evil lizard. Suddenly, the immortal evil lizard could no longer stand. He fell to the ground at once. Ah, no, ha 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 ha. I'm so itchy, it feels so itchy. The immortal evil lizard rolled on the ground like a spoiled kitten. The next scene shocked everyone. Just see. The scales and spikes on the immortal evil lizard. Gradually degenerating. And his stature gradually became smaller. Until it returns to its original state. And the itch monster was still constantly scratching the neck of the immortal lizard. What the hell? Has the immortal evil lizard degenerated? Does this mean that he's going to be taken into custody? This is really surprising. I thought the immortal lizard could only evolve. I didn't expect that the itch monster would make it degenerate. Ah, our city is saved. The Foundation is awesome, and the tickle monster is awesome. How come this tickle monster is so strong? I'm beginning to be curious about his background. S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick instantly shot up from his chair. The immortal evil lizard lost? Could it be that it really lost? He was so excited that he was incoherent. I didn't expect that this tickle monster could even subdue the immortal evil lizard. Could it be that the strongest containment creature is actually him? This tickle monster is definitely not simple. On the battlefield, Charles gasped, "We won." Eric, who was standing by, coughed and laughed. "Charles, you make it sound like you have made a contribution." Logan, as usual, just lit a cigar. Scott on the side was extremely excited. is the immortal evil lizard going to be contained? Did we really win? Qin. Calm down, Scott. Logan took a deep breath. You didn't do anything except see *M a little bit every second. Scott was stunned. Logan, what do you mean? The Foundation's agents arrived. They first picked up the tickle monster. Then, the still twitching immortal evil lizard was immersed in the hydrochloric acid pool that had been prepared long ago. Then, close the lid. The plane takes off. Take the immortal evil lizard away. Since then, the immortal evil lizard has been contained. Qin Yu landed on the ground. He looked at the Ancient One in his arms. A pill appeared in his hand. He placed it in the Ancient One's mouth. The Ancient One soon woke up. Moreover, the injuries on his body were completely healed. Qin Yu put the Ancient One down. Without waiting for Ancient One to say anything, he quickly left. Ancient One was a little dazed. She just saw the Foundation logo on Qin Yu's mask. Could it be that he is watching the Foundation helicopter flying away? Ancient One roughly understood what had just happened. Anomalous Containment Foundation, inside the base. Ding! Congratulations on completing the popularization of Abnormal Containment 682 Immortal Evil Lizard. You have now obtained a dissemination value of 100 million points. Ding! Congratulations on getting the extra reward, Abnormal Containment, Succubus Girl. Qin Yu. Chapter 63. With a whoosh sound, a white light appeared. A beautiful naked girl with a good figure appeared in front of Qin Yu. Qin Yu glanced at it first. Then his face turned red and he closed his eyes. I have been a stay-at-home for nearly 20 years. Where had he ever seen such a scene? The succubus girl is a rather special containment object. First of all, she couldn't wear any clothes. Otherwise, the body will rot. Her other abnormal effect is more powerful. Is a powerful cognitohazard. Once a man approaches her, you will be deeply fascinated by her. Moreover, he couldn't help but do beastly things to her. Also, this is a cognitive hazard. There is a certain probability that it is permanent. Therefore, people who are affected by the succubus girl will usually be executed directly. Definitely, Qin Yu already possessed resistance to abnormal influences. So the succubus girl will not have any influence on him. At the moment, the succubus girl was looking at Qin Yu curiously. She didn't seem to understand why Qin Yu could get close to her without being affected. But, the succubus girl seemed very happy. She grabbed Qin Yu's hand. I'm hungry. Then she squatted down. Qin Yu sighed. The succubus girl also has an unusual effect. She needs to take male essence orally regularly to maintain the body's needs. After some time, Qin Yu walked out of the base gate refreshed. He plans to proceed to the next step. Next, contained objects with significant hazards and cognitive hazards will invade this world. They may be even more terrifying than the immortal evil lizards. Therefore, Qin Yu wanted to form a mobile task force immediately. In fact, Abel and Cain are already considered members of the Mobile Special Service Team. But, it's still not enough. What Qin Yu wants is a powerful team that can deal with cognitive hazards and even divine containment objects. At the moment, somewhere in the universe, a spaceship is flying at high speed. Sitting inside are a raccoon, a tree man, a muscular man, a green-skinned cool woman, a mantis woman, and a funny guy. Suddenly, on the spacecraft screen, a light curtain appeared. Exactly the same as the one on Earth. Rocket Raccoon was stunned. Hey, look, what is that? Quill, don't make me pull your damn headphones off. Come here now. This is... Quill took a closer look and was stunned. Has our spaceship been invaded? I'm actually more concerned about, what does this anomalous containment mean? And what is the Foundation? Rocket Raccoon asked with a confused look on his face. Then, Drax, who was eating snacks, came closer to take a look. This seems to be what happened on Earth. Quill, something happened in your hometown. Members of Guardians of Galaxy started to study this light curtain. Because Qin Yu further upgraded the spread range. Therefore, the members of Guardians of Galaxy can see the light curtain. At the moment, somewhere on Earth, a man in a green robe and horns on his head suddenly appeared. He was breathing heavily. Ah, this damn immortal evil lizard almost killed me. But my stupid brother and father must have thought I was dead. How could I die so easily? Loki looked at the curtain of light above his head. Will there be other containment invasions later? He gave a playful smile. Asgard, I promise, I will give you a big surprise. At the moment Asgard. Thor is hiding in his room. Depressed. Regarding Loki's death. He felt very guilty. Odin ignored him. He stared at the light screen closely. If there will be an inventory of abnormal containment later. Will there appear a being more powerful than the immortal evil lizard? If that's really the case. It may not be just the Earth that is threatened. Also. Odin was really curious. What is the origin of that tickle monster? Even the immortal evil lizard can be easily dealt with. S.H.I.E.L.D. Natasha Romanoff was immersed in shock for a long time. The man who saved the Ancient One and defeated the immortal lizard. The mask he wore was one that Natasha Romanoff had seen before. When she first met the Foundation. The mask the man I saw from afar was wearing was this one. Therefore, they must be the same person. Moreover, he is most likely the boss of the Foundation. Natasha Romanoff was extremely curious. Who is the boss of this anomalous containment foundation? So young, yet in charge of the most powerful and dangerous organization in the world? Suddenly, Natasha Romanoff had an idea. Qin Yu's background seems to have always been suspicious. Moreover, his figure is very similar to that man. Could it be that? But if that is the case, what is his purpose? Natasha Romanoff wanted to get to the bottom of this. She quickly ran to the door of Qin Yu's room. Knocked it. The door is not locked, please come in. A lazy voice came out. Natasha Romanoff opened the door. She saw. Qin Yu was lying on the bed in her pajamas, crossing her legs and reading a DC comic. Occasionally yawn. Seeing Natasha Romanoff, Qin Yu waved, "Hey, Natasha Romanoff. What can I do for you?" Natasha Romanoff shook her head. She realized that she was overthinking. Qin Yu, how could he be the boss of the Foundation? I don't know how much time passed. In the night sky, a curtain of light lit up. Suddenly, everyone was attracted by it. Because the light curtain lit up. It means it's time to take inventory of new items. Could there be new objects in containment? I thought that after 10, it was all over. What will be counted next? More powerful objects. Is there anything more powerful than the immortal lizard? On the light curtain. Subtitles appear. The top 10 abnormal containment objects have been counted. Now we begin to list the top 5 cognitive hazard/major hazard containment objects. Nick Fury took a deep breath. The immortal evil lizard was taken in not long ago. Starting a new inventory again? Cognitohazard? Does it mean polluting people's cognition? Major hazards are those that can cause great damage to the containment. An ominous premonition suddenly arose in Nick's heart. These objects in storage will only become more bizarre and terrifying than the last. Camartage. Ancient One looked at the light curtain above his head. Cognitive hazards are like containment objects that occupy masks. Major hazards, could they be, like, viruses? The Ancient One thought again. That universe full of zombies and that horrific cancerous universe. Suddenly, her heart tightened. If the Earth, or even the living things in this universe. Because a certain containment object has turned into a zombie. The Ancient One shook his head. She would never allow such a thing to happen. The subtitles disappeared from the screen. Several pictures appear above. Nick Fury looked puzzled. Before, the containment objects were introduced first, why are there only pictures this time? Chapter 64. All over the universe. Kree Empire. Ronan was holding the scepter and talking to a purple-skinned titan on the big screen. After a while, the person on the screen disappeared. Ronan also angrily hit the ground with his scepter. Suddenly, the floor cracked. This damn Thanos wants me to find the infinite gems? If I can get it, why do I need to obey him? At the moment, one of Ronan's men came over. Please calm down, sir. I heard that the Guardians of Galaxy are looking for infinite gems, and they want to trade with the Collector. Guardians of Galaxy? Collector? Great. Keep an eye on them. Once you find the infinite gems, grab them immediately. Ronan clenched his fists. The first thing I'll do after getting the infinite gems is to kill Thanos. Yes. Suddenly, the big screen began to flicker. Ronan was startled. Could it be that Thanos heard what he just said? After a while, the screen stopped flickering. The logo of the Anomalous Containment Foundation is displayed above. Anomaly Containment Foundation? Control, Protection, Containment. Ronan looked confused. What the hell is this? His subordinates came to report, "Sir, our system has been hacked by unknown hackers. Now all the screens are showing this logo." What? The system of the Kree Empire has been invaded? Check it out for me quickly. Which reckless person did it? Ronan became angry. Since it's not Thanos, he's not afraid of it at all. He must tear this ignorant man into pieces. After a while, the subordinate came to report tremblingly, "Sir. Sir, we didn't find anything." What? Ronan grabbed his neck and lifted him into the air. "You useless piece of shit, what use do I have for you?" Cough, cough, "Sir, please spare my life. Look, the picture on the screen has changed." Cough cough. The subordinate struggled desperately. Looking at the scene on the screen, Ronan threw his men to the ground. So it's that barren Earth. Ronan approached the light curtain and looked at it carefully. The technology there is like that of primitive people. How can they invade the Kree Empire's system? The Kree have colonized many planets, but they don't care about Earth at all. Because it is too small and too barren. So, the humans on Earth were able to invade the Kree system. This shocked Ronan greatly. It's like a pet cat has reached the king level in LOL, it's unbelievable. At the moment, a heavily armored subordinate ran in hurriedly. "My lord," a huge amount of light screen appeared in the sky above the Kree planet. Now, everyone on the Kree planet can see the contents of the light screen. What? Ronan was shocked. This is even more outrageous. The defense system of Kree Star is extremely powerful. Not to mention the light curtain. If a fly wants to fly in, it will be killed by the laser cannon. Moreover, the light curtain was projected all over the world. This level of technical prowess is no less than that of the Kree Empire's top scientists. Ronan's brows furrowed. No matter who this person is, it's definitely not easy. Earth and the Kree have never had any communication or hatred. What is that person's purpose? Ronan pondered. "Sir." The subordinate who had just been strangled stood up tremblingly, holding his neck. "Should we attack the Earth and teach that man a lesson?" "No." Ronan shook his head. "The priority now should be the infinite gems. Set off immediately and capture the Guardians of Galaxy." "Yes. One more thing." Ronan continued, "Record everything that's shown on the screen clearly, including the appearance of each object. Search for traces of cobweb inside. If you have any clues about that person, report it immediately." At the moment, a black and white picture appeared on the screen. It was a monster that looked like a human, but was very tall. His whole body was covered with kelp-like objects. The Kree people quickly wrote down the contents of the picture with pens. "Guardians of Galaxy," on the spaceship. Quill was playing with a silver sphere. "What's inside are the most dangerous things in the universe, infinite gems." Gamera frowned. "Quill, stop playing with that thing. It's dangerous." Quill said with a nonchalant expression, "Don't worry, Gamera, this thing is very sturdy." Gamera sighed helplessly. This Quill is like a child who never grows up. At the moment, Rocket Raccoon said to them, "Guys, we are about to reach the collector's lair. Be smart when the time comes, because that old BD is full of bad intentions." Quill looked at the content on the light screen and said, "Do you think the things in the light screen are real or fake? Are there really things as terrifying as the immortal evil lizard?" "Hey, who cares?" Rocket Raccoon said disdainfully, "Even if there really is such a thing, it's your hometown that will be in trouble, not me." Quill spread his hands. "Come on. You're being mean." No one on the spaceship noticed. The Kree spaceship had already quietly followed behind them. Above the light curtain, 2 more pictures appeared. In one of the photos, the monster with kelp all over its body was passing through the wall. The other one shows a D-class personnel writing something. The monster suddenly appeared from behind him. What do these pictures mean? Why are there only pictures and no text? Is the Foundation being lazy? We are now taking inventory of major hazards and cognitive hazards. Could it be that this is a cognitive hazard? It causes us to be unable to see the text. I think it's a serious threat. This monster looks scary, and the third picture also shows that it will attack humans. If it's a cognitohazard, what do these images represent? S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick Fury frowned. A few drops of cold sweat flowed from the back of his neck. Why, there is no description of this containment. There are only pictures. It doesn't even have a number. Is the Foundation deliberately joking? These pictures mean that this monster has tentacles all over its body and can pass through walls. And it can attack people from behind. Nick thought so. He quickly gave the order. He asked a team of agents to record the contents of these pictures clearly. The number of hairs on its body must be clearly recorded and analyzed. Camartage. The Ancient One looked at the picture on the light screen. She suddenly felt that it was extremely weird. She understands. Everything that appears on the light curtain is meaningful. The Foundation will not do useless work. There is no description of this item, only a few pictures. Is it because she cannot be described? Think of this. The Ancient One's beautiful eyes opened wide. The third picture. The D-class personnel was writing something. And the containment object appeared from behind him. Does this mean that anyone who describes its appearance will be found and killed by the monster? The Ancient One was surprised by his own guess. If that's the case, it really resembles a shy person. It's just that shy people can't be seen, but they can be described. And this can be seen but not described. In that case, if anyone tries to talk about what it looks like, or record what it looks like, isn't that bad luck? After a while, a new picture appeared on the screen. One of them. There were several D-class personnel gathered around a table, recording something. In the second picture, all the D-class personnel disappeared. Including the papers with recorded texts, they also disappeared. The meaning of these two pictures is obvious. S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick Fury suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. Those people are describing this object, right? Then, all these people disappeared? The things that recorded the text also disappeared. He was horrified. Just now, he ordered several agents to record the contents of these pictures. Will they? Just at this moment, Hill ran over in a hurry. Chief, this is bad. The agents responsible for recording these pictures have all disappeared. Chapter 65. What? Nick's pupils suddenly shrank. Is this containment object really indescribable? Nick rushed to where the agents were working. Kicked the door open. Really? The room is empty. The agents all disappeared. And the desk is clean. It was as if Liang Fifan had just cleaned it. Nick constantly shook his head, his voice trembling. Damn it, how could this happen? He immediately ran to the monitoring room. I checked the office's supervision video. Just see. The agents carefully recorded the contents of the light screen. Suddenly, a tall humanoid creature emerged from the wall. Then, the kelp on his body stretched out and tightly wrapped around an agent. Then, drag it into the darkness. The same is true for other agents. Until all the agents were taken away. The monster then took away all the papers with written information. Then, it disappeared into the wall. FK. Nick hit his thigh in regret. He should have thought of it earlier. The content on the light screen had already reminded him. The fact that there is no text is actually very noteworthy. Nick pressed his fingers between his brows. Once again, he killed a team of agents. Universe. The Collector's lair. The Collector looked at the light curtain above his head. Interesting. Each of these collections is more interesting than the last. I really want to go to Earth and capture them and add them to my collection. There was a look of desire in his eyes. At the moment, a red-skinned maid walked towards him. Master, Guardians of the Galaxy are visiting. Let them in, said the Collector. At the moment, the picture on the light curtain disappeared. The video started playing. The Guardians of Galaxy's spaceship landed on the ground. Rocket Raccoon and others walked down from it. Camartage. A look of surprise appeared on the Ancient One's face. Quill? And that raccoon? Has the anomalous containment been able to affect the other side of the galaxy? The Ancient One knows. Guardians of Galaxy involves many major events in the future. Especially, they are about to trade infinite gems. That's what Thanos was determined to collect. Unknown, under the influence of the anomalous containment. Where will these timelines go? What changes will happen to the fate of Thanos and others? S.H.I.E.L.D. As soon as Nick Fury saw the ship, he was sure of it. This is definitely not something from Earth. The place where they landed was definitely not the Earth. The videos that appear on the light screen are all related to the items being counted. Could it be possible that this containment object could appear so far away? This is a bit scary. Not limited by distance, that means as long as there is someone in the universe describing it, it will be there. Even hundreds of thousands of light years away. This kelp spirit can also appear instantly and drag him into the darkness. In the light curtain, the collector took the small silver ball and put it on the table. Drax's huge body blocked the collector's way and asked, "Where's our reward?" Collector looked up at him and said, "Don't worry, I will give you the reward soon. But before that, I have something I want to discuss with you." "What's the matter?" "You'd better not play any tricks, otherwise I'm going to shoot you." Rocket Raccoon touched the pistol on his waist. "You guys have really bad tempers. What I want is for you to go to Earth and capture a few containment objects for me. I promise, I will give you more rewards." The collector's eyes sparkled. "What do you think?" "Containment." Quill scratched his head. "You mean, those things playing on the screen? I thought they were fake." "I assure you that those objects are real. As long as you are willing." The collector is talking excitedly. He didn't notice at all. His maid had already opened the small ball containing the power gem. She held the purple stone tightly. "I don't want to be your slave anymore." Then, huge amounts of energy burst out. Like lightning, it went straight into the maid's body. She screamed immediately. At the moment, the ground began to shake due to huge amounts of energy. The collector yelled in horror, "A hole! You're going to ruin my collection." He wanted to stop the energy from spreading. But he didn't even dare to touch the power gem. At the moment, just outside, the Kree spacecraft lands. Ronan walked out with the scepter in hand. "Kree." Nick was startled. He recalled that when he was young, he had fought against the Kree together with Captain Marvel. Unexpectedly, I actually saw them again on the light curtain. The powerful Kree faced this inmate who refused to describe himself. What kind of sparks will be created? Chapter 66. Under the light curtain. What the hell, what is that purple stone? Why does it release so much energy when that woman touches it? Am I dazzled? Why do I see a raccoon talking? It seems that there are still many unknown things in the universe. A few blue-skinned aliens there? That spaceship looks so high-tech. This must be outer space, right? Could that unspeakable person really be able to reach such a far place? Camartage. The Ancient One could predict the future, so he was not surprised by what happened in the light curtain. But, if the unspeakable person really appears there, what impact will it have on the future? After all, infinite gems are key items in infinite warfare. Whether it changes hands, is lost or destroyed, it will have a significant impact on the future. Either good or bad. Asgard. The moment Odin saw the power gem, his eyes suddenly lit up. Power gem. Odin searched for the infinite gems many years ago. But none was found. Now, see the power stone. He is very excited. He even wanted to go there right now. Bring me the power stone. But, think about the anomalous containment that will soon appear there. Odin sighed helplessly. The last object he contained, the immortal evil lizard, left a deep shadow on him. It made him lose all face. So, regardless, Odin will not bother the containment again. In the light curtain, Collector's shop has been completely destroyed. Gamera relied on her agility and timing. Put the power gem back into the silver ball. See this scene. Rocket Raccoon and the others immediately breathed a sigh of relief. If this planet is destroyed, they all have to die. At the moment, Ronan walked towards them with an arrogant stride. Hand over that thing, and I'll spare your life. Drax sees Ronan. His eyes were filled with anger. You beast, you killed my wife and my daughter. Then, Drax rushed towards Ronan with a dagger in his hand. Ronan is very powerful. After a fight, Ronan easily subdues Drax. He grabbed Drax by the neck and lifted him into the air. I don't remember that I killed your wife and daughter. Just like I won't remember that I killed you. Ronan's hands were constantly exerting force. Drax showed a look of pain. At the moment, he stretched out his hand toward Quill. Hand over the power stone, or he will die. Quill looked at Ronan's arrogant expression. He knew that even if he handed over the gem, Ronan would not let Drax go. Suddenly, an idea struck him. It seems like he thought of something. Hey, you! Quill opened the cosmic orb and pointed the gun at the infinite gems. Put down my friend, or I will destroy this stone. Ronan sneered, you dare not. If the gem is destroyed, the entire planet will be destroyed and you will all die. Oh, really? Do you want to take a gamble? Quill smiled slightly, and the hand holding the trigger kept exerting force. Ronan was startled and frowned. Wait. Ronan was really afraid that this madman would destroy the stone. He didn't care about the life or death of Quill and others, but he must get the power stone. So, he didn't want to take the risk. Ronan threw the dying Drax to the ground. His men then aimed their guns at Drax. Ronan, give me the infinite gems, and take your friend away. No tricks. Rocket Raccoon pointed the cannon at Ronan, you can't give it to him, Quill. This guy is a notorious butcher. He must want to use this thing to destroy Xandar. Don't worry, Rocket. Then, Quill looked at Ronan, I have another request. Ronan showed an impatient look, what? Quill took a deep breath. He was not sure whether this method would work. You should have seen that light curtain, right? The one that contains the Foundation. Ronan frowned immediately. He didn't understand why Quill knew about the light curtain, just say it. Quill coughed and said, the latest containment item. That is the first picture that appeared on the screen. I want you to describe the appearance of that monster to me clearly. Ronan narrowed his eyes, why would I do this? Quill shook the gun in his hand and pointed it at the power stone, I just want to confirm the content on the light screen. If you don't do this, we will die together. Ronan glared at him. But for the power stone, he endured it. He described it helplessly, that thing, is about the same height as the Kree, has 4 limbs, and is covered with. The more Ronan spoke, the colder he felt on his back. It seems that something bad is approaching. But he thought it was an illusion and continued, his body is covered with stripes. Suddenly, behind Ronan, a portal suddenly appeared. Then, countless kelp-like strips stretched out towards Ronan. Tie him up tightly. Ronan was shocked. He didn't even have time to react before he was tied up tightly. You know, Ronan's strength is extraordinary. This is also why Thanos chose him to collect the infinite gems. However, Ronan struggled desperately at this moment, but to no avail. You can only watch helplessly as you are dragged into the abyss. His men rushed over and tried desperately to pull Ronan out. But nothing worked. At the moment, Quill's eyes widened, it really works. Our previous analysis is useful. When I was on the spaceship before, Quill and others analyzed the contents of the light screen. The meaning of those pictures is that this thing cannot be described. Otherwise, you will be dragged into Meow Meow House. Definitely, Quill and others don't quite believe that these containments are real. Just now, Quill was just trying it as a last resort. I didn't expect, it's true. These things actually exist. At the moment, the hand of the unspeakable person had already grabbed Ronan's face. He dragged it into Meow Meow's house. Then, the portal closed immediately. Ronan disappears with the unspeakable. His men were bewildered. Rocket Raccoon raised his cannon, go to hell. Boom. There was a burst of artillery fire. All of Ronan's men turned to ashes. Quill was incredulous, that thing, dragged Ronan in so easily. You know, Drax was so strong, but he was easily subdued by Ronan. This indescribable person actually left Ronan powerless to resist. Wow, this thing, just killed this muff like that? It's too scary that it ignores distance. This place might be tens of thousands of light years away from the Earth. This indescribable person always reminds me of someone I cannot look directly at. I wonder if 096 can also chase and kill people regardless of distance like this. Hey, what do you think will happen if we ask the immortal lizard to describe an unspeakable person and then show him a photo of a shy person? I'll carry you upstairs. S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick breathed a sigh of relief. Although he paid the price of an agent team. However, this indescribable person did not destroy almost 1/3 of New York like the immortal evil lizard. As long as no fool describes the unspeakable people, nothing should happen again. Now, Nick began to get curious. What is inside the space of the indescribable person? Will it be the same as the space of the scary old man? What happened to the people who were dragged in there? Did they die? Imprisoned? What? His agent team, is there any chance of survival? Camartage. The Ancient One marveled at the strength of the Indescribable One. Ronan was completely powerless in front of it. This couldn't help but make Ancient One have some fantasies. In the future, will there be an extremely powerful containment object that can be used to deal with Dormammu? Thought for a while. The Ancient One still shook his head and sighed. She looked into the deep space. That terrifying abyss. Dormammu is simply too powerful. Fantasy, after all, is just fantasy. At the moment, subtitles appeared on the screen. This caught everyone's attention. Major Hazard / Cognitohazard Containment Inventory, Number 5 Hallway of Fear. This contained object has a close connection with an indescribable person. FK, are we going to reveal the life story of the unspeakable person? Hurry up, update. I want to know what's inside the Meow Meow house. Chapter 67. Object Class, Safe. S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick was surprised. Something related to an unspeakable person is just safe? I thought it had to be at least EU level. Dr. Banner stared at the light screen. Could it be that the mysterious space is related to the unspeakable person? Nick turned his head and looked at Banner. Doctor, what do you think? Banner pondered for a moment. The scary old man also has a space. However, that space is in another dimension, which means that space cannot be contained. Nick's eyes widened. He roughly guessed what Banner was going to say. Banner continued, the level of this thing is safe. Does it mean that the space of this unspeakable person is different from the space of the terrifying old man? Could it be that the space of the unspeakable exists in reality and can be contained? There was a gleam of excitement in his eyes. Natasha Romanoff expressed her admiration. Qin Yu clapped his hands, as expected of Dr. Banner, who has 7 doctoral degrees. Nick thought for a while, if the space of the indescribable person is safe, then what about him? Inside the Guardians of Galaxy spaceship. Quill hummed. He was still playing with the cosmic spirit ball. At this moment, he was bragging to Gamera about how smart and brave he was just now. He had been blowing it for nearly an hour straight. Gamera was looking at him with disdain. Drax had fallen asleep. Groot was playing games. Suddenly, Rocket slapped Quill in the face. Quill covered his face. Oh! Rocket, what are you doing? It hurts. Shut up, Quill. You can't flatter even the PRST Utes on Xandar. Don't disturb me from watching the light screen. Quill saw the light screen was updated and immediately came forward. It's related to the unspeakable person. Is the level safe? Subtitles updated again. The fear sensing corridor is a corridor approximately 130 meters long with a heavy door at the entrance. Any electronic device will malfunction at a depth of 50 in the corridor. At the same time, the subject will experience hallucinations. When the subject reaches a depth of 100 meters, he will feel uncontrollable fear. After leaving the corridor, most subjects' fear will dissipate. There is a door at the end of the corridor, but whenever the subject enters the corridor and wants to record this door, they will ignore it until they leave the corridor. When entering the corridor again, the subject will still forget to record this door. S.H.I.E.L.D. Unspeakable. Is this why the subjects forgot to record it? Besides, the electronic equipment will fail? Doesn't that mean there is no way for people to know what the door looks like? But it seems that this corridor is indeed not dangerous. Stark building. Tony, why do I feel fear when I enter the 100-meter race? If everyone feels fear, why do some people reach the end? What's behind that door? Tony's curiosity was piqued to the extreme. He really wanted to see what happened next. The words disappeared from the light screen. The video starts playing. A Foundation D-class personnel. After being fed a psychiatric drug by a PhD. Then he walked into the corridor of fear. The man walked inside and there was nothing unusual at first. But when he reached a depth of 100 meters, fear appeared on his face. It's not just this D-class personnel. Everyone under the light curtain. Everyone felt fear. Tony Stark seemed to be in ruins. He was surrounded by his dead teammates. He walked forward in fear. He didn't seem to know these people. But he had a feeling. These people are very important to him. Suddenly, a hand grabbed his ankle. Tony was shocked. Look back. Steve, with only the upper half of his body left, spoke in a weak voice. "You could have saved us." Then, Steve died. Suddenly. Ahead. Peter Parker crawled over. His body gradually disappeared. "Mr. Stark. I don't feel well." Peter turned to dust. At the moment, all the corpses crawled towards Tony and complained that Tony did not save them. Tony was quickly overwhelmed by these people. Odin's eyes were filled with fear. He watched as Thanos severed Thor's head. He watched Surti destroy Asgard. Natasha Romanoff walks in the Red House. She watched her former self being pushed into the operating room and transformed. She watched herself suffer inhuman abuse and humiliation every day. Besides her, there are thousands of girls suffering the same fate. This was the painful memory she least wanted to recall. But, it was displayed in front of her eyes extremely clearly, forcing her to watch. Professor X watched the mutants gradually disappear from the world. Even the few survivors were wiped out. Logan died in battle. Even the new generation of mutants could not escape the fate of being killed. As for himself, he still lives in the world, alone. The Ancient One sees. Dormammu has invaded Earth. The creatures screamed and fled desperately, but became part of the dark space. The Ancient One and other magicians fought back, but it was like an egg hitting a rock. Eventually, the Earth was assimilated by the dark space. Seeing this scene, Ancient One's eyes revealed deep fear. Everyone was forced to see what they least wanted to see and what they feared the most. On the light screen, the video continued to play. The D-class personnel fled down the corridor crying and screaming. Since then, the fear in everyone's eyes disappeared. Back to normal. Is this a cognitive hazard? Nick was extremely horrified. What he just saw. Still vivid in my mind. The abnormal effect of this thing is truly terrifying. The D-level personnel in the light curtain were extremely manic. Screaming non-stop. They even beat up the staff crazily. He didn't calm down until he was given a sedative. But, he woke up again after a while, still screaming. Wait until this D-class personnel is tied to a stretcher and pushed away. The doctor announced with a calm cough. D-2357, step out. A man came over. Information in the hands of the doctoral reader, D-2357, suffers from a brain disease and is unable to perceive fear. The doctor then ordered the man into the corridor. Sure enough, when he reached a depth of 100 meters, he did not feel anything unusual and did not perceive any fear. Until he reached the end. Wow, is the door going to open? Is the secret of the unspeakable person finally going to be solved? What's behind the door? Quick, quick, open it. Chapter 68. Under everyone's expectations. The door opens. The D-class personnel walked in. Then he disappeared. A moment. It's like a stone sinking into the sea. Flooded in the space behind the door. Disappeared directly? Was he captured by someone unspeakable? That's not right. He didn't describe it. Why was he arrested? When the Smurf was captured, he was entangled in the kelp. I didn't see any kelp, so maybe it wasn't done by the unspeakable person. A Hydra base. In prison. A little girl with beautiful red hair was hiding in the corner and shivering. She seemed to be crying with her face covered. Beside her, a silver-haired boy was patting her back gently, comforting her. It's okay, Wanda, it's just an illusion. Just now, when the person in the light curtain entered the 100-meter corridor of fear, Wanda saw the scene she least wanted to see. That is, she watched her parents being killed by a missile from Stark Industries. At this moment, her eyes were flashing with the unique red light of origin magic power. Quicksilver, who was standing by, felt a huge amount of energy. He was stunned for a moment. Wanda. After a while, outside the cell at the base, the Hydra members saw a bright red light. This was also the last thing they could see. Inside the Guardians of Galaxy's spaceship, Quill, Rocket, and Drax's heads were huddled together. They stared at the screen with wide eyes, afraid of missing even the slightest detail. Gamera was standing on tiptoe at the back, also looking at the light curtain carefully. I bet this person must have been captured by someone unspeakable, just like Ronan. Rocket said. What should we do? The door is closed now. Even if someone can overcome their fear, they will be caught inside. Doesn't that mean no one will ever know what is inside the door? Quill said regretfully. The gate is closed. After a while, a letter fell out from the crack in the door. The doctor sent another man without fear to bring the letter. The doctor opened the letter impatiently. All I saw was a crumpled piece of paper with very sloppy handwriting on it. As soon as I came in, I was dragged in by that damn BD. That BD was like, data expunged. This is AFG cage. Damn, it's really dark in there, there's nothing. It's so quiet here, I'm going crazy. I don't know what I should do. I don't know what I can do. Am I going to be trapped here forever? I should have turned back earlier. I shouldn't have walked into that corridor. Although the doctor would execute me, I think it was just a bluff. They need a test subject like me, someone without fear. I can't describe that BD on paper, otherwise, this information will disappear. I don't know who will see this letter. Anyway, don't come to this kind of hell. I don't know how much time has passed. Days, weeks, months? Why don't I feel hungry? I think I understand. That BD never came back. And I haven't been out yet. I understand. I understand. I became it, ha 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 ha, I became it. I replaced that BD, ha 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 ha. Afterwards, the handwriting gradually turned into a bunch of incomprehensible symbols. S.H.I.E.L.D. A look of horror appeared on Nick's face. This person replaced the original unspeakable person and became the new unspeakable person. Is this the reason why the unspeakable person is arresting people everywhere? If that's the case, then, could it be that the first indescribable person was originally just a human being? Later, he entered this room by mistake and was trapped inside. Gradually turned into an indescribable person? Nick was shocked by his own speculation. Kamartaj the Ancient One also speculated. Perhaps, in the beginning, this horrific corridor was the only thing that existed in the world. Someone walked in and became an indescribable person. Only by catching someone else can they be replaced. This is definitely the weirdest containment object so far. The Ancient One suddenly thought. Since the indescribable person was created. So, could it be that shy people like it were also created? Thinking of this, Ancient One couldn't help but shudder. She couldn't imagine creating a shy person. How powerful it would be. Ding, congratulations on completing the popularization of the abnormal containment object _ the indescribable person, and you have now obtained 250 million points of dissemination value. Ding, congratulations on getting the extra reward, anomalous containment 5239, undead great magician. Necromancer magician. Qin Yu was very surprised. The necromancer magician is a powerful and bizarre reality warper. His ability, as its name suggests, can control corpses and undead. However, his ability is much more than that. He thought he was a necromancy magician, so he could control corpses and the undead. In fact, he distorted reality. This is actually a bit like idealistic Superman. He will be as powerful as he thinks he is. As for such a dangerous containment, will it get out of control one day? Qin Yu wasn't worried at all. All the refugees he obtained were absolutely loyal. This necromancy magician might come in handy in the future. Soon after, the system prompted Qin Yu that the next containment object was about to invade. Qin Yu immediately raised his eyebrows. It's this? What a coincidence. It seems that something interesting will happen. In the light curtain. Subtitles updated. Major hazards and cognitive hazards, number 4. Chapter 69. Abnormal containment 008 zombie virus object class, Euclid assessed as Class V extreme biological hazard description. Anomalous containment 008 is a complex prion research on anomaly containment 008 is top secret, and its main purpose is preventive research. This makes it possible to artificially synthesize anomaly containment 008 in the future. Strong evidence indicates that anomalous containment 008 was not formed naturally on Earth because variants of similar complexity cannot exist in the ecosystem. Zombie virus? No way, is the biochemical crisis going to happen in reality? Oh my god, zombie virus. The end of the world is really coming this time. This thing is not like the previous containment objects that can be contained so easily. I have to hide in the basement quickly. Zombies, haha, it seems that the containment this time is not very good. With our modern firepower, zombies really do not pose any threat. You ignored the infectiousness. This is the most deadly thing. The light screen said that the zombie virus is a level 5 extreme biological hazard. I don't know what that is, but no containment has ever been described in this way before. Do you think 049 can control infected zombies? No way. 049 can only control the zombies he created. S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick Fury frowned and paced back and forth. Zombie virus. This should be a major hazard containment. If we can find it in time, we can take samples and study it, and make a vaccine in time. The problem is, maybe the zombie virus has already invaded and is lurking in the bodies of many people. Nick looked at Qin Yu. Foundation, has there ever been a precedent for dealing with this kind of biohazard containment? It seems that there is no special method to deal with this virus. Qin Yu said slowly, it depends on the scope of its spread. If it is small, it is easy to deal with. If it is large, it may be doomsday level. Nick quickly asked, the pill that can cure everything. There are only a limited number of those things. I guess if the zombie virus really spreads widely, I'm afraid most of the infected people will have to be executed. Camartage. The Ancient One showed a worried look. What she was worried about was not how scary the zombies were, or how contagious the virus is, but it was the words in the light curtain. Strong evidence shows that 008 was not formed naturally on Earth. Could it be that it comes from other planets in the universe? Or other spaces? Ancient One thought. In that case, could it be created by an alien civilization? If so, what is their purpose? At the moment, the subtitles disappeared from the screen. The screen starts playing. Twist about. The Empire State Building was engulfed in flames. From time to time, black human-like creatures fell out of the window. The air was filled with black smoke. People screamed and fled. Vehicles were running rampant. They seemed to be desperately running away from something. Shit, this is New York. What happened? We have to run. No, look, our Empire State Building is intact. And no one is running on the street. The one in the light screen is obviously not our New York. Oh, right, there's nothing wrong with the Nyutsu here. Then, what's the Nyutsu in the light curtain? I seem to see myself. Could it be a parallel universe? Parallel universe. It's really possible. After all, New York there is basically the same as here. FK, has the Foundation's business expanded to other universes? Camartage. Ancient One opened his eyes wide. This is a parallel universe. Could it be that this zombie disaster happened in another universe? The Ancient One definitely knows about the existence of parallel universes. She was not sure whether the universe in the light curtain was the terrifying zombie universe. It seems that the Foundation's arms reach far. The Ancient One couldn't help but wonder. If the Foundation wants to contain 008, will they go to the universe in the light curtain? If this is true, how would they travel through the universe? Guardians of Galaxy spaceship. Rocket smiled crookedly and said, Quill, your hometown has been in trouble again. The zombie virus. It looks like it's a doomsday level containment. Actually, I don't really care what happens to Earth. After all, I was kidnapped when I was 8 years old, and I don't have any good memories of Earth. Besides, the Foundation will surely be able to handle a disaster of this magnitude. Quill looked indifferent. Oh, that's not necessarily the case. Just wait and see. Rocket had a feeling that something interesting was going to happen. In the light curtain, countless zombies pounced towards the crowd. They have rotten skin. The lidless eyes were bloodshot green. The upper and lower lips had long since rotted away. The big teeth covered with green mucus bit into the fresh human flesh. The person who was bitten screamed and struggled desperately. Soon other zombies pounced on them. Eat that person quickly. Every piece of flesh and bone was madly eaten by the zombies. 2 zombies were fighting desperately for her intestines. Such scenes are constantly happening. New York quickly became a living hell. People who were bitten but did not die immediately. In less than a minute, they turned into scary zombies. Turned to attack the living. This scene is more real and more shocking than any zombie movie. It seemed that the people of New York could only perish in despair. Just at this moment, Iron Man appeared in the air. He flew over here quickly. As the picture zooms in, Iron Man's battlesuit looks extremely majestic and full of technology. Obviously, it is more advanced than Tony's armor in the original universe. The people below called for help from Iron Man. This is Tony from another universe. I knew that Tony was also a superhero in another universe. Ah, when Iron Man comes, I instantly feel safe. Stark building. Tony was stunned at first. Is this me from another universe? Looking at the armor, Tony was extremely surprised. I knew that I would take the armor to another level in the future. It seems that I am also a great hero in another universe. Tony was ready to watch. How did myself in another universe save the people from the dire straits? In the light curtain, Iron Man suddenly rushed towards the crowd. Just crashed into it. Then he threw one of them under him. Everyone under the light curtain was stunned. Iron Man opened his mask. Just see. Half of his face had completely rotted away. There were bits of black skin hanging here and there. The other half also has no eyelids or lips. Absolutely, a zombie. Chapter 70. Tony was stunned for a moment. A look of fear spread across his face. How is this possible? No, this is not me. Someone must have stolen my armor and turned into a zombie. But, with Jarvis's extremely sophisticated security measures, how could anyone else be able to use Tony's armor? Nick looked at the zombie Tony in the light curtain and his pupils suddenly shrank. In that universe, even Tony was infected and turned into a zombie? Then, what about other superheroes? In that case, what exactly does the Foundation want to do? Go to another universe to solve the zombie crisis. Zombie Tony in the light curtain. Just open your mouth wide. He bit the man's face. Blood and brains splattered. Tony crunched the man's skull. He was not dead yet and was still struggling desperately. Tony thrust his hand directly into the man's stomach. A handful of red intestines were pulled out. Ah, fresh meat. I'm so hungry. Tony stuffed the intestines into his mouth. Take a big bite and the juice will burst out immediately. Because the camera was zoomed in very close, everyone could see the scene clearly. I really can't take it anymore. I've watched countless zombie movies in my life, but this one is really unbearable. Ah, how could Tony become like this? He is so scary. Is this universe really salvageable? Even Tony has turned into a zombie, so what about the other superheroes? In the light curtain. Suddenly, a giant zombie nearly 100 meters tall appeared. His huge hands reached straight towards the crowd. It grabbed the lively people and threw them into its mouth. Then, it was crunched. Ah, delicious human flesh. This person is the giant zombie Ant-Man. His wife, the Wasp, also turned into a zombie. At this moment, she became only sparrow file size. He tore off a man's tongue and began to eat it. Not long after, Zombie Little Spider-Man, Zombie Captain America, Zombie Hulk, and others have all arrived here. They began to eat voraciously. The scene was a feast of human flesh and blood. Soon, all the living things present were eaten by them. There wasn't even a scrap of meat left. Zombie Hulk looks very angry. He roared, hungry. The zombies have an extremely strong appetite. Almost impossible to satisfy. Especially Hulk. In fact, they appeared before the light curtain. It has already eaten a lot of people. At the moment, little Spider-Man was temporarily full. He seemed to have regained some sanity and felt guilty. Is it not good for us to do this? What's wrong with that? Wolverine licked the blood from his mouth. I haven't had enough yet. We've eaten up all of New York so quickly. Little Spider-Man continued, what's next? Eat up the entire Earth? If there are no more living things on Earth, won't we be tormented by hunger forever? We must find a way to eliminate the virus in us. This is the right way. We can't go on like this. After hearing what little Spider-Man said, the zombie heroes fell silent. They knew in their hearts that what little Spider-Man said was right. Suddenly, little Spider-Man seemed to smell something. It's human flesh. His voice became extremely terrifying. He quickly looked towards the source of the smell. I saw a shivering girl tiptoeing to escape. Little Spider-Man immediately sprayed out cobweb and pulled her over. Then, with a snap, he bit off half of her neck. The other zombie heroes couldn't stand the smell of blood anymore. They rushed over one after another. Within seconds, the girl was devoured. This scene really scared the audience under the light curtain. Shit. I really thought they still had some sanity left. Now it seems like that's out of the question. They want to eat people as soon as they smell meat. It's really horrible. These zombies are all powerful superheroes. How can ordinary people resist? And they can smell the smell immediately, so there is no way to hide. It's really despairing. Fortunately, the zombie virus is spreading in another universe. If it happened in our universe, it would be difficult to survive even with the help of the Foundation. So this is what serious harm means. This is no less terrifying than Master 682. Nick swallowed. He had a hunch. No matter what method was used, the zombie universe in the light curtain would affect the real universe, the universe where Nick was now. If that was the case, he couldn't imagine what this world would be like, turning into a hell on Earth. He couldn't accept such an outcome either. Even if there is a slight possibility that the zombie virus spreads into the real universe, Nick couldn't just sit there and do nothing. He stroked the communicator in his hand. On it is the Captain Marvel logo. On the light curtain, Ant-Man had already carried the zombie heroes on his back and ran to his basement. In bed, the non-zombified Black Panther was tied to the bed and was in a coma. At the moment Ant-Man felt dizzy. He quickly cut off a piece of flesh from Black Panther, stuffed it into his mouth. After satisfying his appetite, the zombie Ant-Man gained a moment of sanity. Ant-Man understands that if this continues, not to mention the entire Earth, even the entire universe will be devoured by zombies. Therefore, the right way is to develop an antidote to the virus. And Black Panther is the reserve flesh that Ant-Man uses to maintain his sanity. In this way, he can develop the antidote with a clear mind. Definitely, he didn't share this plan with anyone, including his wife. Just at this moment, the wasp suddenly grew larger and appeared in front of Ant-Man. You actually hid food behind my back. The wasp looked at Black Panther's fresh flesh and licked her slimy teeth. Ah, human flesh, I'm so hungry. She pounced on him with her teeth bared. Ant-Man grabbed the wasp's wrist and said, you can't eat him. I want to develop an antidote to the zombie virus. Only he can keep me sane. I don't care about the antidote, I just want to eat meat. Seeing that she couldn't break free, the wasp had to bite Ant-Man's hand. Pa, that's so disgusting. The wasp spat out Ant-Man's piece of meat. Zombies find the flesh of their own kind unpalatable. That's why they don't commit cannibalism. The wasp gradually grows larger. She has lost her mind and wants to tear Ant-Man to pieces. Ant-Man could only sigh and instantly grew larger. Then, open your mouth wide. He bit off the wasp's head in one bite. Then he spat out the head. The wasp's body staggered and fell to the ground. Ant-Man sighed. At the moment, he looked at the glowing device inside the laboratory. This device is used to travel through the universe. Ant-Man knows that there is a parallel universe that is very similar to this zombie universe. Therefore, this device must not be discovered by other zombies. Otherwise, the consequences will be disastrous. His universe is already in tatters. He didn't want other universes to suffer the same disaster. However, his every move, it had already been seen clearly by Susan, the Invisible Woman, one of the Fantastic Four. She looked towards the device. A hungry light flashed in his eyes filled with green veins, another universe full of fresh meat. Interesting. See this scene. The Ancient One's pupils trembled violently. Because, she knows. A universe very close to the zombie universe. It's this universe. The universe she lives in. Chapter 71. If it is really invaded by zombie heroes, the consequences would be unimaginable. I am afraid that this Earth will become a slaughterhouse for zombies just like the Earth in the zombie universe. This zombie virus is really terrifying. Not only does it not weaken any of the superheroes' strength, instead, it will give them endless hunger. Moreover, it is so contagious. When fighting those zombies, it's easy to get bitten or scratched. They will immediately turn into zombies and attack friendly forces. The Ancient One must stop them no matter what. If it became necessary to use the Eye of Agamotto, she would do so. In the light curtain, the zombie heroes fell into hunger again. Suddenly, in the sky, a silver figure flashed by. It immediately attracted the attention of the zombies. Just see. A man dressed in silver was standing in midair on a silver skateboard. Suddenly, hungry green lights flashed in the zombies' eyes, meat. But, Silver Surfer disappeared in an instant, leaving the zombies in bewilderment. After a while, Silver Surfer appeared again. He began to announce that the planet was about to be devoured by the Planet Devourer. The zombie heroes wouldn't take any of his crap. Little Spider-Man shoots out a web that entangles Silver Surfer's feet. Hulk jumped into the air with his rotten mouth open, trying to bite off the Silver Surfer's head. Silver Surfer is no ordinary person. He knocked off half of Hulk's head with one punch. Then, he ripped off the cobweb and emitted white light from his hand. In one blow, the upper body of little Spider-Man was broken into two halves. Zombie Thor flew into the air. He bit the Silver Surfer on the neck. But the Invisible Man's skin is too tough. Not even a trace was left. Silver Surfer grabs Thor's head. With a strong pull, his head was pulled off. Who is this person? Oh my god, isn't he too strong? He killed Hulk and Thor instantly, and he was unscathed. It seems that this Silver Man can kill all the zombies present without the Foundation's intervention. Will this crisis be resolved just like that? I feel hopeful. Do you think there is such a person in our universe? Asgard. Thor watched as the zombie version of himself had his head ripped off. He couldn't help feeling extremely ashamed. Although, he had almost lost face when dealing with the immortal evil lizard. But this way of dying is too tragic. He couldn't help but think of Loki. I don't know what happened to Loki in the zombie universe. Did he also become a zombie? Camartage. The Ancient One looked at the Silver Surfer on the screen of light. She really hoped. Silver Surfer is able to kill these zombies. Moreover, the Planet Devourer can devour this zombie planet. In this way, there is no need to worry about the invasion of the zombie universe. Silver Surfer looked at the remaining zombie heroes with an expressionless face. He was about to fly away. Suddenly, in the air, a huge amount of hand, covering the sky and the sun, slapped down at him. He was pushed directly to the ground. Silver Surfer was just about to get up. Then it was stepped on hard by a huge amount of foot. The earth shook. There were huge amounts of gaps. Ant-Man raised his foot. He leaned over and looked at the Silver Surfer lying on the ground. Before Silver Surfer could recover, the Hulk, with only half of his head left, pounced on him. In half of Hulk's head, the remaining half of the brain is still moving. It looks like a green paste. The mucus composed of viruses clings to it. Zombies have extremely strong vitality. With only half a brain left, one can still survive. Hulk pounced directly on the Silver Surfer. Open your bloody mouth and start biting. The hungrier the zombie Hulk is, the stronger he becomes. At this moment, he was extremely hungry. He actually tore open the Silver Surfer's flesh. The other zombie heroes rushed forward. Soon, the Silver Surfer was eaten up. After a full meal, little Spider-Man seemed to have discovered something. His upper body was torn apart, but he was still alive. He stretched out his hand. White light shot out from his hands. He shouted excitedly, "Come and see. I seem to have absorbed that guy's energy." The rest of the zombies tried it one by one. They can both shoot powerful rays. This is because the Silver Surfer's cosmic energy was absorbed by them. At the moment, Zombie Tony seemed to have thought of something. That silver guy, just now he said something was coming to swallow up the earth. As soon as the words fell, suddenly, the sky became dark. Huge amounts of energy distortions appeared in the sky. Immediately following, the Planet Devourer appeared on Earth. Although, he was in a hungry state and not at the peak of his strength. But, the body is still frighteningly large. This caused a burst of exclamations from the audience under the light curtain. This was definitely the biggest thing they had ever seen. Even the immortal evil lizard is a huge distance away from him. Camartage. The Ancient One secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Although the Planet Devourer is not at its peak strength, but, it is definitely more than enough to devour this planet. These zombie heroes can't stop him. Unless... Hulk looked greedily at the huge amounts of fresh meat, such large amounts of meat, enough for us to have a full meal. I'm so hungry. Tony flew into the sky and shot cosmic rays at Planet Devourer. But the blow to its body is like an ant trying to shake a tree. The zombie heroes emit cosmic energy together. But, there was no effect at all. The Planet Devourer looked at the zombies with disdain. Are you hungry? He opened his palm. Huge amounts of energy pouring out. In an instant, the entire city was destroyed. At the moment, far away, the Fantastic Four, the culprits of this zombie disaster, have arrived here. They have turned into zombies. Susan grinned and said, "How powerful he is, the Planet Devourer. We can't let him ruin our plans." Yes. Thunderbolt's body was burning with flames, we must kill him. Don't worry. Susan licked her non-existent lips with her green tongue. I have a plan. Chapter 72. In the light curtain. The planet devourer roared. A light appeared all over his body. Huge amounts of energy caused the surrounding space to begin to distort. The trees and the debris of houses were sucked into the air. The planet eater begins to devour the planet. He didn't care if the Silver Surfer was dead or not. Or, whether those zombies are dead or not. Anyway, in his eyes, we are all ants. I devour planets, what does it have to do with you? Wow, this planet devourer is really powerful. It destroyed the entire New York with just one move? I feel like this planet is really doomed, and those zombies are dead too. It seems that the Foundation really doesn't need to take action this time. The oppression of this planet devourer is too strong. Do you think there is a planet devourer in our universe? If it comes to devour the Earth, how should we respond? That really is the end of the world. This thing is a monster from another dimension. S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick secretly breathed a sigh of relief. It would be great if this planet devourer could destroy these zombies. However, he still planned to call Captain Marvel over. After all, the items currently being counted involve multi-universe. Even if this crisis can be resolved in the future, there will surely be more terrifying objects. He had to discuss a countermeasure with Firth. In the light curtain. The Fantastic Four called the zombie heroes into the laboratory. A huge amount of equipment was placed in front of them. Hulk's skin, which was originally festering, is now almost gone due to the attack of the planet devourer. Rotting, charred flesh was exposed. He was extremely hungry and very angry. You'd better make sure this thing can really kill him. Otherwise, I'll eat you first. Hulk stared at Susan. Peter looked at the invincible Uncle Ton outside the window. Can that thing really be killed? This thing can gather the cosmic energy in you. Susan giggled. Come on, put your hands on it. Don't you want to chew his flesh and blood? Hearing the word flesh and blood, the zombies couldn't hold back any longer. They all put their hands on the instrument. Suddenly, a white light flooded into the machine. At the same time, the zombies felt that their strength was almost drained. Mr. Fantastic immediately stretched out his pair of rubber arms. Aim the instrument at the planet devourer. The energy inside the instrument is accumulating more and more. The air began to vibrate. The next moment, boom! A beam of white light instantly shot towards the planet devourer. It hit him directly on the shoulder. Boom! The planet devourer looked at his shoulder, where a big hole was blasted out. He staggered, his expression full of surprise. How is it possible? Boom! The invincible Uncle Ton fell. He was already extremely weak from not eating for a long time. Plus he was seriously injured. He almost fainted. Looking at the zombies rushing towards him, Uncle Ton gritted his teeth and tried hard to stand up. How could I be defeated by a bunch of bastards like you? Suddenly, he felt something entering his brain. Just see. Invisible woman Susan controlled the force field and invaded his head. Be good and become the bait. Susan used all her strength. Uncle Ton's head was swelling bigger and bigger. Boom! Heads explode. Brain matter and blood poured out like a rainstorm. The greedy zombies opened their mouths and sucked in the nectar. Not long after, they fell on Uncle Ton's body. 3 times 5 divided by 2. He ate Uncle Ton cleanly. Shit! They're going to eat him right now? It's so hopeless. Is there anyone who can stop them? It's so scary. I now suspect that even if the immortal lizard appeared in front of them, they would eat it up completely. Does the Foundation really have a way to deal with them? I think they are just educating us about the dangers of the zombie virus, right? They shouldn't try to stop them, right? I think the tickle monster might be able to deal with them. Impossible, those zombies eat everything. No matter how strong the tickle monster is, it has no offensive power. It will definitely be eaten like jelly. Camartage. Ancient One looked at the light curtain in disbelief. They actually ate the planet devourer. The strength and intelligence of these zombies were far beyond Ancient One's expectations. Suddenly, the Ancient One had an idea. These zombies ate the Silver Surfer and gained his energy. Now that they have eaten the planet devourer, will they? Thinking of this, a hint of fear appeared in her eyes. In the light curtain, Hulk satisfied his rare appetite. His body gradually shrank. Back to Bruce Banner. At this moment, Dr. Banner's belly was frighteningly large. It was like being pregnant with a mammoth. Banner from the original universe fell into complete silence when he saw this scene. In the light curtain, all the zombies entered a cooling off period. They began to discuss what to do. Either fall into endless appetite, or completely solve the problem of the zombie virus. As the conversation went on, it turned into an argument. A group led by Captain America believes that desires should be satisfied. The group led by Tony believes that the virus must be purified. The two groups of people quarreled more and more fiercely. It looked like a fight was about to break out. Stage a zombie version of Captain America 3. This made Susan very unhappy. She exploded instantly. The powerful force field shocked the zombies. Didn't you realize that we absorbed the energy of the planet devourer? She looked at her hands. We are already gods. We are the planet devourers. And you are still arguing about morality and ethics like monkeys. After Susan's reminder, the zombies then discovered that they had become extremely powerful. Next, the zombies began to slaughter people wantonly on Earth. In a few days, all the living things on the Earth were eaten by them. Ant-Man, on the other hand, was in the basement, intensively researching an antidote to the zombie virus. Black Panther's limbs have all been eaten by him. The face skin was also eaten away, leaving only bones and eyeballs. If an antidote cannot be developed before Black Panther is eaten, Ant-Man will also completely lose his cool. In this universe, no one can stop these zombies. Not only this universe, but other universes will also suffer. He looked again at the device that could teleport to other universes. He finally made up his mind to destroy it. Even so, this is his life's work. Ant-Man's body grows larger. He raised his fist and smashed it down on the device. Suddenly, his fist was forced to stop in the air. It seemed that some huge amounts of force stopped him. Chuckle, chuckle. Susan appeared. She had been invisible just now. Do you think I don't know your little secret? You want to ruin the opportunity to travel to other universes and eat the freshest meat. Ant-Man suddenly felt something was wrong. He grew rapidly, trying to crush Susan with his strength. But, Human Torch suddenly rushed in. A huge amount of flames sprayed onto Ant-Man's face. Ant-Man screamed and fell to his knees. Mr. Fantastic stretched out his arms and tied Ant-Man's hands tightly. Susan flew slowly to Ant-Man. He touched his head with his hand and said, "Die, traitor." Boom! Ant-Man's head exploded instantly. The green slime covered the entire laboratory. At the moment, other zombies also rushed in. They rushed towards Black Panther. In an instant he was devoured. This little bit of food could not satisfy their endless appetite at all. Susan opened her arms. In another universe, there is fresh human flesh. What are you waiting for? Susan activated the device. Suddenly, a column of light shot up into the sky. The zombies roared and rushed into the light column with an extreme desire for flesh and blood. A line of subtitles appeared on the screen. Warning, creatures from another universe have invaded. Chapter 73. What? Ah! Zombies are invading. No. Help, help. No, I don't want to be eaten, Mom, save me. Suddenly, fear engulfed everyone under the light curtain. The horror of the zombies has been deeply engraved in their hearts. They didn't know where to escape to. But he still fled desperately. S.H.I.E.L.D. Huge amounts of sweat beads appeared on Nick's head. He understood that his armed forces were completely unable to fight against those evolved zombies. But he had no choice. As the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., you can't just back down when the Earth is in trouble. Everyone, please mobilize all armed forces. Defend the Earth to the death. Yes. Suddenly, all the fighter jets and armed helicopters on the deck took off. They were densely packed and arranged in neat square formations, which was extremely shocking. Tony's expression was serious. The domineering steel armor changes its shape. Fitted against Tony's body. On appearance, his eyes lit up. Tony took a deep breath and looked out the window. He has already made a major upgrade to the armor. He was not sure whether he could fight against those zombies. But he won't back down. Camartage. The Ancient One landed on the training ground. Here gathers Camartage's most elite magician apprentices and mentors. The Ancient One glanced at them and said, "The Earth is under threat. It's time for us to take action." Suddenly, all the magician apprentices drew a circle with their arms. Hundreds of rune shields appeared at the same time. Absolutely spectacular. X-College. All the X-Men except Jean Grey are assembled. Something has been wrong with Jean since her potential was stimulated last time. He seemed like a different person, and his emotions became increasingly unstable. Definitely, only Professor X knows the reason. Everyone, Teacher X said earnestly, the fate of the Earth will once again depend on you to save it. At the same time, a small town. There was heavy rain with thunder and lightning. Most of the surrounding houses have been destroyed. Dozens of Hydra soldiers are surrounding Wanda and Quicksilver. Wanda's red hair was soaked and stuck to her face. Quicksilver sat on the ground, clutching the gunshot wound in his shoulder, breathing heavily. The expression was very painful. Wanda looked anxious and desperate. She cannot use her ability stably. So facing these soldiers, she had basically no power to resist. The soldiers slowly surrounded them. Back off, back off. Wanda released red magic and roared tremblingly. However, the power of these magics is too small. A soldier rushed over. The butt of a rifle hit Wanda in the abdomen. Wanda fell to the ground instantly. He held his stomach and trembled all over. Wanda. Quicksilver's lips had turned white due to excessive blood loss. At the moment, behind the Hydra soldiers, there was a roar. Fresh meat. Hulk is so hungry, so hungry. The zombie Hulk appeared from nowhere. He grabbed the soldier and stuffed him into his mouth. Every bite is juicy. The soldiers were terrified and fired wildly at the zombie Hulk. Zombie Hulk's skin is constantly damaged by bullets. He was enraged. Let out a loud roar. Cosmic energy burst out from his arms. Blast towards the ground. Huge amounts of tremors mixed with terrifying energy. In an instant, a huge pit was created on the ground with a radius of hundreds of meters. The Hydras were blown into pieces in an instant. Wanda's potential burst out in time. Used origin magic power to protect himself and Quicksilver. But he was still blown away and fell heavily to the ground. Blurred, she watched the zombie Hulk frantically eating the body parts of Hydra soldiers. Like a whirlwind that sweeps away everything. Hulk is so hungry, Hulk wants to eat more. After the zombie Hulk finished eating all the body parts, he pounced towards Quicksilver. Quicksilver's blood attracted him. The stench of zombie Hulk went straight into Wanda's nostrils. Zombie Hulk grabbed Quicksilver. Wanda burst out with amazing power in desperation. No, boom. Suddenly, the entire sky was dyed scarlet. The terrifying origin magic power tore apart everything within its range. After a moment, the embers of magic faded. The rainstorm that was very heavy just now has stopped now. Wanda's body is surrounded by origin magic power. Her wet hair was blown by the energy. She looked closely. Hulk is nowhere to be found. There was only a giant rotten hand, tightly grasping Quicksilver's arm. The severed limbs had been burned to charcoal. Wanda stepped forward immediately. Use origin magic power to blast Hulk's hand into pieces. Then, she planned to pull up Quicksilver. But at this moment, Wanda felt a sharp pain in her neck. Her pupils trembled suddenly. I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. She covered her neck and fell down. The magic around him dissipated immediately. Ha 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 ha. The zombie wasp suddenly grew larger. You didn't expect this, did you, little princess? The wasp's body below the neck is completely replaced by machinery. She had her head bitten off by Ant-Man before, but she did not die. She was picked up by Mr. Fantastic and transformed into her current appearance. Zombies can survive as long as their brains are not completely destroyed. Wanda twisted her body in pain. The black blood vessels on her neck had spread throughout her body. Her pupils had gradually dilated. People infected by the zombie virus will quickly turn into zombies. Wanda. Quicksilver burst into tears. He hated himself for not being able to do anything and for dragging his sister down. At the moment, the wasp licked her lips greedily and grabbed Wanda's neck. I want to enjoy you quickly. Once you become a zombie, you won't be delicious anymore. The wasp opened her bloody mouth. He bit Wanda's delicate neck. Chapter 74. Quicksilver held out his hand in desperation. No. Wanda. He can't stop the zombie wasp. The zombie's teeth almost touched Wanda's neck. Just at this moment, the wasp stopped moving. She just stood there, with her mouth wide open, but not moving. This scene made Quicksilver stunned. The wasp was even more terrified. She didn't understand why she couldn't move. Why is the consciousness clear but unable to control the body? Then, the wasp discovered with horror. My body is gradually moving backwards. Then, she watched as her arms grasped at her head uncontrollably. Then, squeeze hard. The wasp wanted to scream in horror. But she couldn't even control her vocal cords. Click.psst. The wasp squeezed her own head and exploded it. Directly explode. Quicksilver looked at this scene with surprise and horror appearing on his face. He didn't understand why the wasp would commit suicide. Until, in a daze, he saw two young men walking towards him. One was wearing a mask and the other appeared to be wearing a black robe. The masked boy seemed to put something into Wanda's mouth. Quicksilver then fell into a coma due to excessive blood loss. The other side. Ancient One, Tony, the X-Men and others confronted the zombie army. Apparently, except for the zombie wasp and the zombie Hulk. The other zombies were teleported to the same place. This is a good thing. If zombies appear in a place without a superhero guarding it, I'm afraid that place will immediately become a dead city. After all, the zombies that have absorbed the power of the planet devourer are too powerful. The Ancient One reaches toward the sky. Huge amounts of magic discs appear. The golden light merged into the body of everyone present. Although this magic cannot prevent direct damage, it can prevent the zombie virus from invading. Otherwise, if the superheroes present were bitten and infected with the zombie virus, they would immediately turn against us. Transform into a zombie and attack friendly forces. Interesting little trick. Susan watched the magic released by the Ancient One and licked her non-existent lips. Well, how about this? She held out a hand. The air suddenly vibrated. This is Susan's trick. Huge amounts of force field energy, with the blessing of cosmic energy, become extremely terrifying. Even the Ancient One was shocked. Susan radiated the energy. Suddenly, the space began to distort. Hundreds of magic apprentices mobilized all their strength. The magic shield is activated. Energy bombarded it. Huge amounts of ripples appeared. The extreme pressure caused the magicians to bleed from their noses. Finally, the shield broke. Susan's energy dissipated along with it. The magicians were knocked to the ground by the shockwave. Oh ha ha ha! Susan covered her mouth and laughed. Is this the Asgardian from Earth? Looks like I can have a good meal today. The Ancient One's expression was extremely serious. She knew the zombies would be powerful. But I didn't expect them to be so terrifying. It takes the power of hundreds of magicians to barely block Susan's random attack. The Ancient One flew into the sky. Her long hair fluttered in the air. She had to face Susan. Otherwise, others have no chance of winning at all. Great, such fresh and delicious flesh. Susan's eyes revealed greed. She stared at the two huge amounts of flesh on the Ancient One's chest. Since you want to be eaten by me so much, then I will satisfy you. The other side. Peter faced off against the zombie Spider-Man. The zombie Spider-Man opened his mouth and stuck out his extremely long tongue. Ah, what would I taste like in another universe? It pounced towards Peter. Peter jumped away with a start, swinging on the cobweb and leaping onto another tall building. He found that the zombie Spider-Man's movements did not seem to be very agile. I don't know if it's because the brain is infected with the virus. At the moment, the zombie Spider-Man also wanted to use cobweb. But it found that cobweb had run out of space. So he clenched his fists. PSST. Shoot the vein directly. Red blood vessels spurted out with mucus, heading straight for Peter's face. Peter dodged immediately. Oh my god, this looks painful. The zombie Spider-Man swung over on the Venus cobweb. He roared. The veins all over the body were sprayed. Huge amounts of red webs were coming towards Peter. Peter immediately jumped in the opposite direction. Then he kicked the pillar under the billboard and broke it. With a snap, the billboard fell down, blocking most of Peter's veins. But there was still a part of the vein that stuck to Peter's body. Peter immediately wanted to rip them off. Suddenly, the zombie Spider-Man appeared in front of Peter. It hung upside down, tangled in a vast array of veins. I've had enough fun. Cosmic energy emerged from his body. Boom! Huge amounts of blue exploded, engulfing entire buildings. Tony took a deep breath. Behind him is the entire Iron Legion. There are more than 50 battle armors of various shapes. Zombie Iron Man laughed unpleasantly. Haha, haha, this reminds me of the days many years ago. But now, I just want to eat meat. Ah! Zombie Iron Man rushed towards Tony. Tony commanded the mechas to attack. Rays, shells, lasers, all came at me. The smoke cleared, and the zombie Iron Man was unharmed. His whole body was protected by a shield of cosmic energy. I have to say, Tony, you are really weak right now, just be my bait. The zombie Iron Man pounced towards Tony. He immediately grabbed Tony's arm. Then, pull hard. Swish! The steel armor was torn apart like a piece of bread. Tony managed to break away at the last moment thanks to Jarvis's control. Otherwise, he would have been split in two. The new armor was reattached to Tony's body. At the same time, Tony detonated the old suit. With a loud bang, a big hole was blown in the zombie Iron Man's mask. He was visibly irritated. Tony, hey, I thought my alternate universe self was just as smart as me, but it turns out to be a complete idiot. As soon as he said this, the zombie Iron Man lost his mind. Rushing towards Tony again. This time, Tony controlled other armors to surround the zombie Iron Man, hold it tightly. The zombie Iron Man was wrapped like a dumpling. Zombie Iron Man roared. Huge amounts of cosmic energy surged into the sky. The armors were blown up in an instant. The smoke cleared. Due to the destruction of cosmic energy, Zombie Iron Man's armor was almost completely scrapped. But he didn't care at all. Is this what you are capable of? Is this your wisdom? Do you think this pile of toys can deal with me? Tony held up his finger. First of all, they're not toys. They cost me tens of millions of dollars. Second, you're already dead. Zombie Iron Man was stunned. What? Chapter 75. Tony smiled. He snapped his fingers. Zombie Iron Man's head exploded instantly. Green brains were flying everywhere. Just now, Tony took advantage of the zombie Iron Man's inattention. A small bomb was sent into his nasal cavity and directly into his brain. Because the zombie Iron Man's armor has lost its function, so there is no way to stop this bomb. At the moment, the remains of the zombie Iron Man fell to the ground. Made huge amounts of noise. Jarvis scanned it. Sir, it has completely lost its vital signs. Tony let out a long breath. He wasn't sure whether this move could kill the zombie. If this didn't defeat him, Tony didn't know what would. It seems that cosmic energy cannot make the zombies' bodies stronger. The other side. Peter fought and retreated to the main battlefield. He was not dead, he just died in the last moment before the building exploded. He tore the vein and jumped out. However, his skin was also burned over a large area. The zombie Spider-Man still refused to give in. Wrap Peter's body with veins. He took a bite. Peter didn't shy away. Instead, he stuffed his arm into the zombie Spider-Man's mouth. With a bang, the zombie Spider-Man did not taste the fresh meat as he had imagined. Instead, it bit into something extremely solid. I saw that Peter's arms were covered with steel armor. Goodbye, me from another universe. Peter waved to the zombie Spider-Man. The armor on his arms. The shells were fired. With a bang, the zombie Spider-Man's entire head exploded like a watermelon. Completely dead. Peter gasped for air. He was exhausted and just lay on the ground. On the battlefield, the human side was at a serious disadvantage. Magicians, agents, and mutants are constantly dying. Those zombies are already powerful, and they have absorbed cosmic energy. Extremely difficult to deal with. Wolverine, Iceman, and Hulk together. They are fighting the Human Torch, Wolverine the zombie, and the Thing, a member of the Fantastic Four. Iceman's entire body is covered in solid ice armor. His strength has already reached the Omega level. But, Thunderbolt is blessed with cosmic energy. Therefore, he is on par with me. Neither of them had any fancy moves. One spits fire, the other spits ice. Just pouring out energy like that. The Stone Man was beating up Hulk. He can send Hulk flying 10 meters with one punch. But Hulk couldn't even break his skin. Look at you, so weak. At the moment Hulk almost fainted. The Thing grabbed Hulk's arm. Take a bite. Just tore off a large piece of meat. Green blood gushed out like a fountain. Hulk roared in pain. The Stone Man swallowed the meat in one gulp. Ah, such delicious, fresh meat. Susan, I really want to thank you. He grabbed Hulk again. But, Hulk grabbed his hand directly. wrestled with him. The stone man was stunned. How did Hulk become so strong? Watch as Hulk's wounds gradually heal. The stone man was even more shocked. Hulk was extremely angry at this moment. His body swelled rapidly. In terms of strength, he quickly crushed the stone man. How could it be? Hulk pressed down the stone man. Cracks began to appear all over the stone man. Finally, there was a bang. Shattered directly. Zombie Wolverine's claws are equipped with cosmic energy. Whenever he attacks Logan, Logan will be seriously injured. Logan rushed towards the zombie wolf again. His claws scratched the zombie wolf's shoulder. The zombie wolf knocked Logan away with one claw. Logan gasped. His body began to heal. The zombie wolf licked the blood on its claws. You really are perfect food, with endless meat. Logan looked at the wound of zombie Wolverine. It didn't heal like itself. Did he lose his self-healing ability after becoming a zombie? Or was it caused by absorbing cosmic energy? Logan thought. He immediately pretended to lose his combat ability and fell to the ground. The zombie wolf's eyes immediately lit up and it pounced on Logan. Fresh meat. PSST. Logan's claws dug deep into the zombie wolf's heart. The zombie wolf was about to laugh at Logan when he felt dizzy. I lost all my strength. Logan smiled slightly. It seems that you have lost something very important. Logan retracted a claw. Then, he plunged his remaining 2 claws deeply into the zombie wolf's eyes. The zombie wolf's skull was opened in one go. Then he pulled out the zombie wolf's brain. The zombie wolf can't be deader. Except for Wolverine, Hulk, and the Ancient One. Everyone else is at a disadvantage. The number of human warriors is decreasing rapidly. Those decedents that were not eaten quickly turned into zombies and began to turn against their teammates and attack them. It's over now, we can't defeat them at all. Many of them have turned into zombies. It's really over now. This is so despairing. Luckily I'm on the other side of the world. It doesn't matter where you are. If they lose, the entire Earth will be eaten by zombies. Can you hide in outer space? Nick Fury watched as his teammates dwindled. S.H.I.E.L.D.'s planes also constantly crashed. He was extremely anxious. He originally thought that with so many superheroes and troops, they could hold out for a while. Unexpectedly, the zombies almost crushed them. This is when the Ancient One and that terrifying Susan are in a stalemate. If the Ancient One loses, that crazy woman will be able to wipe out the human side in one go. Ancient One looked at the battle below, feeling extremely anxious. There are very few humans left. And the number of zombies is still increasing. Susan increased her strength. Don't be distracted. Just die obediently. The Ancient One lost his strength due to distraction. Susan's energy position has an absolute advantage. Ancient One could hardly hold on any longer. At the moment, a brilliant streak of energy flashed across the sky. Captain Marvel finally arrived on Earth. She rushed straight towards the battlefield. Nick saw her and was immediately ecstatic. Fuss. Just at this moment, almost in an instant, everything became quiet. The zombies' roars suddenly stopped. Susan's force field disappeared instantly. She was extremely terrified, but couldn't move at all. The survivors on the ground also looked at each other. They didn't understand why the zombies suddenly stopped moving. At this time, on the ground, a young man in a black robe walked over. In his hands, he held a strangely shaped book. He kept muttering, "Oh undead, obey my orders." Firth watched the scene, extremely surprised. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you are notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.